humans interfacing with computers
for their own entertainment. The very notion disgusts me.
Look upon my works, foul creatures,
And weep at its magnificence.
Welcome everyone to our latest episode of The Testing Room, where three of the gaming industry's best video game consultants who have never actually consulted on a video game bring you new topics each and every week. As always, I'm Alex, aka The Godfather.
I'm Christian, aka Sudovoodoo45.
I'm Preston, a.k.a. Funkadelic Jedi.
Yeah, and we are here today to start a new episode of our video game book club and talk about the games that we've played this week. Before we do that, Preston, as always, what do we have in the corner?
Yeah, in the corner, as per usual, this episode is sponsored by the Comic Headquarters. If you're looking for a trade paperback or a hardcover, the guys over at Comic Headquarters can help. Even if they don't have what you're looking for, they'll offer to order it in for you. For example, if you're like me and Alex and you're going to C2E2 and you need something to bring with you that you don't want to look for on the floor, feel free to let them know. Visit them at comichqstl.com today, where you can contact them and order that trade paperback or hardcover that you've been looking for. Or give them a call at 314-433-5449. Let them know that the testing room sent you, and you can get 10% off your order. Yeah, I got a handful of things I'm bringing to C2E2. Even Jank has sent a couple things my way to get hit and signed as well. So me and Alex will be having a lot of fun. Not this coming weekend, but if you're listening to the episode when it comes out, it will be that coming weekend.
Yeah.
Bunch of fun people.
I haven't gone through my comics yet. I know I have a bunch I need to go through and decide, like, what do I want to bring. I know I'll bring my blank that's been drawn on by 4 people so far. It's been drawn on by Miko Sawan and Tyler Kirkham, Ryan Kincaid, and Greg Horn. So I'm always looking for more people to add on to that.
I should do that for my
That's all I know that I'm
one. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah,
I should pull that one out.
I know I'm gonna bring other stuff. I just haven't gone through stuff yet. But Jake did text me the other day, so he sent me a text right after we had finished playing Halo, maybe an hour or two later, a few days ago. It was like, "Hey, are you sitting down? I have something." I'm like, I'm at my desk, I guess. Sure. Like, what's up? He's like, I have something huge. It's like, okay. And like, who knows what this is going to be, right? And he sends me a picture. He's like, this just walked in my door, and it's like a pristine copy of the Batman Metal, which is...
The one you wanted. Yeah, the one you're missing.
Him and Flash of the Red Death. The one that I'm missing. Well, the one that I have that has a crease in it. So essentially, like, yes, the one that I'm missing, right?
You need to get replaced. Yeah.
And he's like, it's so clean. And I was just like, yes, please. He's like, it's yours. It's coming your way. And he's like, if it's not a 9.6, then CGC is fucking with you. And dude, I looked at it yesterday when I got it before I left. It is pristine. Like, even around the spine with those like foil covers, a lot of times they get breakage and white.
Yeah,
like,
it's
perfect. So
awesome.
He not only has he done me a solid because he knows I've been looking for that one for years, right? And like, just... Yeah,
finally got it in.
You thought
That's
of me
awesome.
as soon as I got it. Like, amazing.
See?
Yeah.
You talk to him,
be happier.
He'll keep it in that little noggin of what you're looking for, and if it comes around his way, he will hold on to that and make sure that you are the one to get it. So, he's a good dude. It's a good shot.
Yeah. I'm excited.
I'm still so bummed, man. Well. I wish I would have not gotten the weekends wrong, because this entire, I was like, oh man, I'm so geeked. Because not even like, I'm not super into comics at all, but I kept thinking it was
you
this
really
weekend.
wanted to see Christina Ricci. I understand it. It's okay.
Yeah, whoever that is. But
you don't know who Christina Ricci is?
You don't know who Christina Ricci is?
No, I don't read comic books.
It's not comic books.
Okay.
She was the lead in Casper, the old movie, and then she's a movie star.
In what movie?
Casper? The
Casper,
live action movie? She was the girl?
She's now on the TV show Yellow Jackets and some other stuff.
She's a very famous
just so we're clear.
actor.
No. So, and you need to be very honest here, because I know you're about to fucking lie to me. when you watched Casper, we were all children.
We were.
Did you finished Casper and said, I need to know that girl's real name in the credits write it down and remember it?
Christian. Did a lot more movies than just that.
She's in the Addams Family. She's in
Addams
like
Family.
Sleepy Hollow with Johnny Depp.
Never saw it.
She's in all.
Do we have to pull up IMDb to find the one movie that he's seen with Christina Ricci in it?
I've
Just
seen
because
Casper.
you haven't
I've
seen
seen
it.
Casper. I'm not okay. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that when I go, you guys know how, especially those you know how few movies that I see in general.
I do.
So it's not. I just can't, like the audacity. Like you go, fucking. You
It's
don't
just-
know who Christina Ricci is. Like I don't fucking. Yeah, of course I don't know.
To be fair, it's just it is very uncommon that someone of our age that grew up when we did wouldn't just know as like common knowledge Christina Ricci. That's all
No. Here's the thing: is that when you guys said, "Oh, it's the girl from Casper," it's like, "Oh, right on. Okay, I know who that is because I've seen Casper." But like, I tell you right now, there's plenty of millennials in my building. If I knock on the fucking door and go, "Do you know who Christina Ricci is?" They're gonna say no.
That's not the point.
They'll almost all know who Christina Ricci is.
I would put money on this. No, they
So would
don't.
I would absolutely put money on
Especially
it.
women, because like she's been in a bunch of very
dude.
young woman movies that are still being watched today over and over again.
Yeah, she's in a show that was a huge YA series that was turned into a show on Showtime a few years ago. Yellow Jackets, she's massive.
Sure,
She
but
is.
but if you're watching Yellow Jackets, then if it's your first time being introduced, are you like, oh my god, that's Christina Ricci, my favorite, or is it just like,
No,
it's the
it's
girl
just-
who's playing the
she's-
character that I like?
No, it's just she comes. She just I don't know how to say it other than she's just one of those people that since the 90s is kind of like in the zeitgeist. She's like culture. Not to say she's the greatest star to ever live. That's not what I'm saying. But
but
she's just a pretty common name. From
can I
some
just
of
be
the
clear?
stuff
Just
she
like
it's
did.
Scarlett Johansson, you're gonna know who she is.
Yeah, exactly.
No, bullshit. You are not going to sit here and tell me this girl is as popular as Leonardo fucking DiCaprio.
Yeah,
Get the fuck out of here.
Not as good of an
Yeah.
actor, but she is just as
she's
popular.
not as talented, but I would say just as popular. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no,
People know who
no.
she is.
Yes.
No. I'm sure the people who follow her like you guys do
No, I don't
know who
follow
she
her.
is.
I don't watch
I don't
anything with her in
follow
it.
her, dude.
You guys
I'm
know
just-
all
I
of
haven't-
her fucking work,
Dude,
so
the last thing I saw Christina Ricci in before the Wednesday show, Tuesday show, Wednesday show,
Wednesday
whatever,
show.
the Addams Family Wednesday.
It's Wednesday.
Before that, I couldn't tell you the last time. She was in Black State Moan. She was in
that's right,
the Sleepy
yeah.
Hollow movie. She
Sleepy Hollow is
was,
probably the last
I'm
thing
sure
I
she's
saw.
been in other stuff, but that's what I mean. I don't know that I've seen a lot of her movies. She hasn't acted in a while. She's just part of the culture that we grew up in. It's just one of those names that you should know. I'm
Not
surprised
Christian
you don't
P-word
know.
culture. It's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
sure.
I guess.
I should have
Yeah,
said
I
Mads
guess.
Mikkelsen because then he would have known who that is.
Acting like I can't. I'm not doing this.
Okay.
Fucking Mads Mikkelsen. Just okay.
gonna be a C2.
You guys are talking about actors who have built so many awards, and then you're like, and also Christina Ricci. People are
Christina
supposed to know.
Ricci has won awards though.
Yeah.
As many as Mads Mikkelsen. Stop it.
Mads
Stop
Mikkelsen
it.
hasn't won as many
Well,
as
to
you
be
think.
fair, he hasn't, and he's only been an American actor for
but-
probably a
but-
decade. So
okay, as many big movies as Mads Mikkelsen. Stop it.
Yeah.
I don't.
would
She's
say
been
yeah.
in a lot of
No.
stuff, dude. I don't know what to
All
tell
right,
you.
No, we're doing this live. I'm gonna go look up at Mads Mikkelsen's fucking IMDb, and we will talk about the amount of movies and other shit that he's in that is fucking trans. And you are going to tell me
She's
Did
been
this-
acting for longer than Mads, I
She's
feel.
in Adam's Family, the Casper movie.
You're right,
yeah,
She
yeah.
was talking about Wednesday, and Yellow Jackson.
the actor, Mads
Sleepy
Mikkelsen,
Hollow.
the
Hold on,
actor
hold on,
who's
hold on.
in Doctor Strange, one of the biggest movies ever. But sure,
God.
yeah, okay. But we're gonna just talk about the fact
she's
he's in
in-
Rogue
she's
One,
in-
another one of the biggest movies ever. But that's fine. We'll keep moving. Indiana
She was in the
Jones,
Matrix.
Casino
She was in the
Royale.
Matrix.
Shut up!
No,
we're
no. So here we go. Look, right? Again, different time, right? Because again, she was in Speed Racer. I know. Say what you want. She was in Speed Racer. She was in The Matrix Resurrections. She was in Fear, Loathing in Las Vegas, which, by the way, is a massive movie.
huge movie.
It's a different
Fear and Loathing in
time
Las
period.
Vegas. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas has a great cult following, and I love that movie. But it is
Right.
You are not going to look at me and tell me in my fucking face that it is big or has done as well as Casino Royale, Doctor Strange.
No. We're not. We're just saying. We're just shocked. We're not we're just shocked that you don't just culturally know her name. That's all that it is.
And all I'm saying is, you guys just being, you guys are like, oh, I mean, she's like on the same level as Mads Mikkelsen. No,
As far
she's
as popularity, people know her, yeah.
No.
People in America would probably know Christina Ricci. I would just venture to say more people know Christina Ricci than Mads Mikkelsen in America. Yeah.
Well, I know Mads Mikkelsen, and I don't, and I've only seen Christina Ricci in fucking Casper, so I have.
I know, but this is
just the
this
idea
isn't
that
even one of the.
this motherfucker is in a Harry Potter movie, a Marvel movie, a Star Wars, a James Bond movie, Indiana Jones, and was Hannibal Lecter, and you guys want to sit here and pretend like he is. Like, I just.
All we're saying is like
I'm being gaslit right now. That's what I'm being. I'm being gaslit.
We are so shocked,
yes,
dude. We are so shocked by this. We're not even making fun of you, calling it like an age thing. Like we're not even going for the joke.
Surprised.
We're legitimately like we're actually just surprised you didn't know that name when we said it.
Yeah.
Oh. Amazing. Anyway, back to the corner.
No comments on the comment corner. I did bring up an article if you guys want to talk about it, but otherwise, since I know we want to get done with this a little bit earlier than usual today, we can go on.
What was your article?
So I was thinking about when we don't have any comments for comment corner, I'd bring up an article or something that's recent. So I wanted to kind of get your guys' thoughts on this. Since me and Christian, I know we listen to the same podcasts, and sometimes you do as well, Alex, so you guys may have heard this already. This is a little game called Pokemon. And in Japan, there's been a gentleman who has been arrested for hacking the recent version of it and selling modified versions of those monsters to people here and there. So yeah, beginning of April, there was a police cyber patrol operation, which they come to find out that this gentleman had been illegally modifying data in Pokemon Violet and selling that data to other people to get modified Pokemon where there's a different color, so maybe like level them up, maybe give them something weird, who knows. But yeah, he's saying he was getting about, I'm going to go with US dollars, so we got about $84 per sale. And he has been arrested. I'm pretty sure he's been convicted so far. He could face up to 5 years in prison or have a penalty fees of $32,000 or more, or both.
So really quick,
I was curious about your guys' opinion on this. And I mean, it is Japanese legal law.
Before I give my opinion,
Pokemon Company wanting to fucking bring Hellfire down.
Before I give my opinion on this, can I just say, I'm so jealous of Japan. When we were there, it was so beautiful. There seems to be so little crime, and their conviction rate is so high. You want to say like
for very bad reasons, by the way.
Sure. But you want to be like, go take care of the real crime. But like, this is what they have to do. Our ex-president is currently facing multiple conviction charges.
Possibly new president.
They are so bored with free time on their hands that this is what they go after. Like, I'm so jealous. Quick anecdote, and we'll move on. I'll give my opinion on this. But like, when we were there, it was news one night about a road rage incident. This road rage incident was somebody got so pissed at another driver on the road in their dinky little cars that they purposely slowed down to under 10 miles an hour on a one-lane, one-direction road. Right. However, they were in a box truck and the other person was in a car and drove their car up under the box truck and just pushed their back end up on the median and left them there and drove off. And like, that was the crime of the day, right? Like, I'm so jealous of these other countries that are just like, this is what we have to spend our resources on. So like, good on you, Japan. With that being said, I do have a question. So you say he hacked it. Well, was he selling them in-game? Like in-game Pokemon?
Before we get into the story, just really quick. When you said that there was like a cybersecurity, like a internet, like that was trying to track him down, I just want to let people know.
That's the exact wording is.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I want to let people know that. So like it's we've talked about it before. I'm in that. That's specifically my industry. That's what I do.
Police.
Not all the time, but sometimes when you are dealing with certain like what they would call like a threat actor to try to like track down, a lot of times people will assign you, like they will use the word, and this is no bullshit, they will use the word task force. And I love the idea that these people, like either analysts or threat researchers or whatever, no, the Pokemon task force.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's what they would have been tracking. And you have to, if you were that person coming into work that day to be like, I have to stop this cyber criminal. It's my job as part of the Pokemon task force. How do you not just get up from your desk a little bit, go into the bathroom, look in the mirror, and just like laugh at yourself a little bit? Like, well, Hiroshi, you never thought that you'd be on the Pokemon task force, but here you are. Like,
No, you and I and Preston, we know enough about this culture, and we've watched enough enough just perpetuating stereotypes animes that instead of saying like, Hiroshi, what are you doing today? You know, he walked in, he threw some water in his face. He's like, this is your moment. You will bring these people to justice for the honor of you and your company and the family. I will make sure that everyone gets retribution.
yeah.
So but
To answer
so
your question,
with this, Preston, yeah. How did this go about? Was he selling them like in game?
So
what was that?
the operation went down. Police claimed to have discovered evidence that the gentleman's name is Yamakawa. He's exactly our age, 36. Well, round up, 36 years old.
If it was Hiroshi, holy shit!
I know, like I looked up and like, okay, so
Just fucking slam dunk, dude.
Yamakawa used a special tool to illegally modify Pokemon Violet save data. With this tool, he could fulfill customer requests, doing things like changing the creature's colors or making it difficult to raise Pokemon, easier to manage. And the racketeering happened between about a year or two. And,
Racketeering.
Meaning about the wording is Pokemon racketeering occurred between December 22.
So he
and
so he
March
essentially just modded the game.
No, yeah, he
is what
modded Pokemon,
did.
which
He-
it's been happening for years. You can easily find a
and
way to
then he just-
modify Pokemon with data, and
And then he
But-
just sold.
But he was
and then
selling
he just
it to
sold
people.
the mods, selling the modded save files to people.
Yes.
That was the extent of the crime. So it wasn't even that he cracked the code and sold the code to other companies.
people have done
He wasn't
in our
manipulating
game.
it.
Yeah.
He wasn't manipulating it in a way where he was like getting all of this like pay in game stuff for free. So he was like stealing from the company.
selling
No.
it to make a living as
No,
a
no.
36-year-old interior designer.
So here's the problem, and this is where this guy fucked up, is that
He sold it.
he's well,
went
yeah,
after
but
paper
trail somewhere
it doesn't
for
really
it.
matter. That selling it, it would have, even if he was just doing it for free and just like trying to help people out, he still would have gotten caught. And here's why: he's about 15 years too late. When you were modifying cartridges and then selling modded cartridges to people, since Pokemon was a game that was exclusively offline with the exception of a link cable where you could battle people, head to head, there was it didn't matter. Like, it was just like, hey, I broke my cartridge and wanted to play, I game sharked my shit, right? Like, it was, it was common. You are now in an era where if somebody, it's Nintendo regardless, and Game Freak, regardless of how stupid I think this is, they are going to go after this because if somebody uploads one of those modded carts and then they sit there and they start playing and they go online and they start playing against people or whatever, and it either gets used in like one of their fucking stupid I should say stupid, whenever it gets used in one of their tournaments, or it gets used on some bit, like somebody who's like a massive streamer encounters one of these people who has modded stuff, whatever, right? It creates a giant like news cycle thing that Game Freak doesn't want to have, and so they're incentivized to go and destroy these people when in reality, like, you could have just, I don't know, man.
Yeah, and to be
There's
fair, like
other-
this whole the whole thing where like it was like states in the article, which Kotaku.com if you guys want to look it up. But it violates the country's Unfair Competition Prevention Act, which was passed in 2019. So this law or act didn't even exist until a couple years ago.
And dude, like, it's just you've put yourself in a position in which they have to stop you. Like, even if like I don't think this is that big of like who gives a shit. But at the same time,
making money
I'm
off of shit like
not somebody who plays Pokemon competitively for money. And so, but like if I had found out that I lost to somebody who used one of these modded cards, you know what I'm saying? Like just something ridiculous
There
like
are
that.
things that go about as far as like especially actual competitions, like the official ones. Like there's ways for them to like make sure that you don't fuck around with like your data and stuff like that. So it's been a thing since
But
the
it
original
depends.
ones. But yeah,
Yeah, like,
there's
but
ways to look at it. Don't get me wrong, you could probably find a way around it. But if they're suspecting something, they know what the numbers should be when these things happen as far as those Pokemon. So
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I am gonna say, I agree with Christian, right? Like, they're gonna bring the book at him, and they have to. I get it. But with that being said, I personally say let him go. It is in every sense of the word, it is a truly victimless crime. And I know, like you might have an argument, but like think about it. People, in order to play the save file, had to pay for the game or have the game, right? This person wasn't really doing anything illegal other than selling a product that he changed, but like people are playing the game for fun. They probably weren't in tournaments. There's not really money on the line. They're not stealing from the company, right? So like, it's literally like a victimless crime, and maybe it'll even put some pressure on the company to make their future games better. Between Pow World coming from one side and this market from the other, like maybe, probably not. I get it, but like
Definitely
literally
not.
in every sense of the word, this is a victimless crime. I think it's dumb. Right,
yeah.
that
It's
they're-
not
that
far
they're
off from
going
like
after
someone
him.
just making a painting of a Pokemon and selling it to somebody. Like, I mean, this just
Right?
right as that line of this law essentially just bans the act of editing and selling protected data online or in person. So that law was
problem
made
is-
for this specific type of thing.
So like the thing is,
No, that was made for tricking people
not
into buying
Pokemon,
counterfeit
yeah.
products,
Sure, yeah.
right? And it just happens that this falls under that too.
Yeah.
the thing is like, I agree. I just they're not going to do that. They're going to go as far as they can with this
Sure.
kid, because or not kid, this person because
That's an example.
I mean, look at what Nintendo does to people who run emulator sites. Like, there's people who still their grandkids will still owe money to Nintendo by how hard they're suing these people. Like, it just doesn't. They don't care. It's to set an example. And
Dude, if Nintendo could, they would get people for buying used copies of their games. Like, if they could.
But
Like,
also-
we're not getting that money, so you can't buy or sell that thing. Like, if they could, they would.
just so we're clear, like when you just for everybody's knowledge, like if you're going to commit a crime when it comes to like software,
Well, be careful.
I'll be fine.
Yeah,
I know what I'm talking about.
I'm-
But if you're
I'm like, okay, where are we going?
But if you're going to commit a crime when it comes to software, like modding software that you buy or modding a game that you buy, because before back in the day, you owned that game, like it was yours to do whatever the fuck you wanted with, right? So like today, with like how digital ownership is all up in the air and it's very weird, your first mistake was absolutely going to sell it. If you are going to mod something and you really just want to do it and then shut up.
That's and offering for free or just putting online as like a fun tech demo, right? Or how
you wanna
companies can get away
donate,
with doing
feel
things like the
free.
Bloodborne.
Yeah, dude, create a
like,
YouTube
Or like
video.
the Bloodborne demakes and stuff, right? That's how you get by with it,
Yes.
because you're like, I'm not charging for this. Here,
Yep.
go have fun. Like, it was a fun project for me. I wash my hands of it. It's you're still giving the company credit, and I think they still even do in the credits of the game of like, hey, it's their IP and their so on. This was just something fun. Go crazy, right?
Yep.
Like, go play.
Yep.
And
That's-
you're
but
right. That's the only way to do
But that
it.
technically is like there's still you're still committing a digital crime. Like you're still but when you do it in a free way or to your point, like when you just show like, hey, look, I'm just doing this for fun. It's just a fun passion project, and then I'm releasing it out to the world, and there's nothing. No, I don't want anything. It was just a fun thing that I did, and here you go. Or to Preston's point, like here's how you do it if you want to copy it, and then you're done, and you get to have your notoriety, like and people will follow you as somebody who might mod other things in the future. But
It could lead to other job opportunities too.
absolutely. But when you start going around and treating it like a back alley business, you're gonna get treated like a back alley business.
Yeah, if you violate end user license agreements for fun, nobody's going to waste the time coming after you. When you violate those license agreements to make a profit, well, everybody wants their cut. and
No,
now
yeah, but they have to. They,
Right, like-
because if they don't come after you, then it's just going to be something that it just allows for more of it to pop up.
But I say let him go. I think it's stupid.
Yeah,
I-
they're not
I
going
think
to.
stupid
Though.
too, but they're not going to.
No.
Yeah. Look at their money.
No, yeah, he will go to jail.
But again, also like that's if you're gonna do it in a country like America where our FBI, DOJ, and everybody else are way too busy with prosecuting our president and other people to do that. We have drug dealers, we have fentanyl problems. Don't do it in Japan, where the worst part of their day is this Pokemon crime. You know what I mean? Like,
Imagine
do
a
it
cop
somewhere
that had
else.
to go to undercover to get one of these cartridges, like to prove the sale. You know what I'm saying? Like, but
Yeah.
your dude's like,
Real
bro,
deep down inside, that guy's like, but I do want to modify Gyarados. I want to be purple. So, like, I'm going to get that, but I'm also going to get him.
and what does dude sell? Like what, $35 a pop? You know
Well,
what I
it was
mean?
80
Like
something.
$50.
it was $85. It's
85
60 plus
bucks,
15
yeah.
for the game. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that's still a pretty decent deal. I mean, it's dumb to go to jail for, right? But like, again,
is.
here in the U.S., you're setting up a sting. You're busting somebody for a couple $100s worth of drugs, right? And you don't even want them. You're going to let them go. You're going to put them in jail and let them see a judge on court Wednesday. But really, you're going to try and get a confession to get somebody bigger. But like, they're literally wasting time on something that's $80 a pop in Japan. I envy you so much, land of the rising sun.
Yeah, that'd be fun to bring up an article if we don't have any comments. So.
Yeah.
But I've been hearing that a bunch this past week. I'm like, it'd be kind of a fun thing to kind of pop up, just kind of see what you guys take on it.
I had not heard that yet. That's very interesting.
Yeah, it's
I
been
had-
like 2 or
I
3
hadn't either. I feel-
podcasts, yeah.
I feel bad for that guy. Also, like the and this is the final thing that I'll say about it. If you're gonna do stuff like that, it's like the old Departed line, right? There are some guys you can punch, some guys you can't punch. It's not really a guy you can't punch, but don't fucking punch him. This is the same thing. There are companies you can do this to and companies you can't. Nintendo's
Oh yeah, the podcast was listening to.
Nintendo's-
Like, do that to fucking
Nintendo's
Digimon,
actually-
no one's fucking coming for you. Or do that to Monster
Yeah.
Rancher, no one's coming for you. But you do to fucking
Nintendo and
Pokemon, they're gonna
Pokemon.
fucking come
That's
for you.
yeah. That's actually one of the ones like you literally can't do that to
You
because they
knew
will
it was
come
gonna happen
after
sooner or
you.
later. Like,
Yeah.
you should know better,
Yeah.
especially being
Dumb.
in Japan.
Yep. So, cool. All right.
That's it.
Well, Preston, do you want to take us through your week then?
Yeah, I can. So I actually had a busy week. Did a bunch of watching, did a bunch of playing. We'll go ahead and start off with Final Fantasy XII Zodiac Age. I am over 20 hours in that game. I've been having a good time. I'm kind of getting the idea of the grind. If I'm going someplace I'm not having fun with, you start going back, killing monsters, just go back and forth. Just go back and forth. If you can't kill them, you go a little bit further. You can't get anywhere. Okay, go back. Keep going back and forth. Just gotta do that. Put on a podcast. Put on a show if you're gonna do that mindless shit. Let it be done. Now, if Final Fantasy wants me to like their games more, they should get rid of all that grinding. And from what I've seen with 16 being one of my favorite Final Fantasy games, a lot of that grinding is gone. So,
16
games-
is an enigma
Yeah.
in itself.
It's also
it is.
it's not a JRPG anymore, but yes,
it's
it
an
is.
action
It's an
But yeah.
action game.
Maybe I like action games more than I like JRPGs. Who knows?
Who knew? Who could have
Who
ever
knew?
seen that coming?
Now with Final Fantasy 12, I've gotten further. I went to the Mount Burmise, and now we're going to the second, it's not a throne. It's the second tomb of Wraith Walls, because now we need to get the sword
Yep.
of Wraith Walls. So we're going to do that. Again, yeah, it is very Star Wars-ish. And it was like, okay, there's a rebel faction, there's the Imperial, there's a very, Han Solo person, there's a very Princess Leia person. There is a straight up Yoda in this fucking game. You go to Mount Burmise, you go defeat like the holy person up there. This dude has pointy ears. He's got like jagged top teeth, or they're sharp jagged teeth. He's talking, and he's like talking with his mind. And it's like, this motherfucker is Yoda, 1000%.
I wasn't playing with you when I told you it was Star Wars.
I kind of knew, but like it's pushing towards like, okay, you guys are going real hard on this, because the old man far off in the nowhere zones is gonna be like a telepath or whatever, and he's gonna be able, like, he's gonna have pointy ears and shit, and it's good, it's really good. And in fact, my second favorite Cid showed up. Al Cid, who is essentially Antonio fucking Banderas. This dude has like a t-shirt that's opened up with hair poking out. He's got a very thick Spanish accent, and he is very suave, and it's just, he's got like a little assistant with him. It's very cute. that dude is 1000%. When they made that character, they're like, we want him to be an Antonio Banderas character, and it's 1000% him. I love him. He's a fantastic. This game has phenomenal characters all around. I like this game a lot. Outside of the grinding,
It's a good game. It's a good game.
yeah, it's a good game. Moving on from that, I know me and Christian played a little bit of this, and I know Christian and Alex played a little bit of this, but we did not play all together yet. But played a little bit of Destiny 2. The trailer for the Final Light, which is the culmination of the 10-year plan of Final Shape, which is the culmination of the 10-year plan of Destiny that they've been wanting since the beginning. So we finally get to see the ending of the whole 10-year plan, guys. It looks interesting as far as what we're going to get, but we wanted to jump in like, we got the itch.
Interesting is the word. It looks like Bungie doesn't want to get acquired by Sony. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about.
But yeah, jump back in there, and my God, I'm sure you too, Alex, but we're all overwhelmed by all the things that show up in your face as soon as you launch that game. Like, you're trying to figure out where to go, and there's all these points and different seasons that you could have unlocked and you don't have or you could buy, and it's just like me and Christian are like, we don't know where to fucking start. And since I didn't buy the season pass before I launched the game, like Christian had the whole thing to where he gets all the seasons, but like it didn't start me out with that cutscene and the mission at first. I buy a season pass, and I had to relaunch my character into the game to activate that cutscene because I had no idea where to go and what to do. And there's no way to activate it unless you just start the game, which kind of does the whole last time on Dragon Ball Z thing, as far as just kind of catching you up on certain people and things, just kind of remind you if you weren't there for the past year or two.
I don't remember what year this game came out, but the very, very first DLC they had for it, Season Pass, they launched a dungeon that you could do, and it had something to do with the Witch Queen or something, like before the Witch Queen dropped. But it was around the 30th anniversary, so there's 30th anniversary stuff you could do, but it was also... Okay, so 2000. Yeah, so this was probably in 2015 when they
you mean
no. The
The
DLC thing is the
30th. Yeah, the original game that you and I played, like that was 2014. But the 30th anniversary shit was like 4 years late. Like it was well into the game's life cycle.
Because you could buy the first two expansions or whatever when you bought the game, and then that first one came out. I thought like within the year.
Okay, there we go. So that second expansion I did not pay, or those first two expansions I did not pay for.
Yeah.
And one of them had a dungeon in it that was the same people that are the Taken King race, right? Like it was that sort of dungeon in it. And just to say, Preston, with you saying like all this shit everywhere, I've never unlocked that dungeon to this day. To this day, I think it's still like $10 or something. I'm not going to pay for it. I think it's stupid. And it's old content now. So
the 30th anniversary came out in 2021.
Okay, well, this wasn't the 30th. It was before that, right? So to this day, when I'm trying to clear stuff off, I can still go to a planet, and I have this one dungeon that shows, it's like big, it's huge, like right on the map, like, do this. And you can't, because I have to pay for it. But it's still like not gone
it shows
off
like
my map.
It shows like a main objective to me. And it says, you should do this. And it's like, okay, I'll do it. Like,
it's like 8 years.
I'm like, come on.
8 years on, and it's still there. And it's like, come on, guys. Their UI is trash.
There's a lot going on there. I may have spent a little more money on it, because when I jumped in there, I noticed that they started having some theme stuff. I'm like, theme stuff, that seems fun. Yeah, I looked at it. Motherfucker's got an Ecto 1 in there. And I have a very cool ship already. It's already a Winnebago, so like I got this really cool looking van that flies around.
You do.
But then all of a sudden they're like, but what if you want an Ecto 1, Preston? I'm like, fuck, I really do want an Ecto 1. What if your little ghost guy, what if he looked like Slimer? I'm like, that seems pretty cool too.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, that's cool.
I bought those. It's very cool. It has lights on and everything with the car. That's great. That's great. I love it.
I luckily had the season pass because, like Christian, I bought the edition that had it forever ago, so I did not have to spend any money on this game, and I was very happy about that.
I didn't have to, but I had to. You know.
Yep.
Yeah, that was fun. Hey, guess what? Destiny is it feels good to play Destiny, outside of trying to figure out what you actually need to do. Start up The Force Unleashed on Star Wars Sundays. Audio is a bit weird on it. The PC version of it, like lightsabers and blasters sound fine, but everything else is fairly quiet. So that was an odd thing. I've been looking up fixes. There are none. I just kind of roll with it. So, but it's fun. It's a rough game. It's about as rough as The Force Unleashed 2. It's the story's better, but Man, it doesn't play
Really?
the way I remember, man. Yeah, I mean, like, hey, we have a family plan, so if you want to just give it a little, half an hour or 45 minutes one day, feel free to kind of like remind yourself. But like, it's still kind of a rough game. It's better than the Force Awakens 2, but
was
it's
the
rough.
PC port like fucked up in any way? Because I feel like
I think
the
it might have
PS3
been,
version was
but yeah,
like
it's-
rock solid.
Yeah, I know the PC port's not the greatest in the world. I thought about trying to get my PS4 back out and kind of see if I can get the PS3 version going, but it's fine. It's not like a horrible game as far as that. But I definitely remember, and when I got the first boss, I'm like, oh yeah, these boss battles fucking suck. And I remember that back in the day too. Like I remember the game being great, but the boss battle sucked. The first boss battle you have, like the dude just literally has invincibility frames just standing there. Like he's about to do something that's like, no, you can swing on me all you want, but my health's not going to go down. I'm like, maybe he should have planned that out a little bit better. Like he has a force field that he puts up, or he jumps off to the side like he does in this boss battle. Like do something other than like let me swing on this dude, and all of a sudden halfway through me swinging on this dude, he just doesn't take damage. But yeah, other than that, I'm still having fun with it. I'm having a good time. We're jumping in. I'm trying to decide what costume I want to put on because the Sith edition or whatever gives you like most of the costumes and stuff like that. So if I want to, I can run around as like Lando or Boba Fett or something like that. So I'm like, I might want to do one of those fun ones. But there's also some really cool ones that are just fun to go through. So playing through that, it'll be fun. If you want to join me on Sundays on twitch.tv/testingroompod. We're doing that around 9:30 Central Standard Time in the morning. Come join me. It's a fun little romp. And last game that I've been playing, I've finally been able to play Sky Children of Light through Steam. It is now out of its early access, I think, so it's just it's no longer a demo. It's the actual like the game. Boy howdy, that is pretty much Journey 2. So it's got the little button to where you can like go beep beep and kind of blink and like talk to people, but it's like the MMO essentially because there's a lot more people going on in there. You can actually just, if you like that person, you can like press the X on them. They can jump into your game rather than just being a ghost in the world. And are things, doors that you need two people to kind of go with. You can both kind of tackle some things in certain areas. But the game at the very beginning tells you like 80% of this experience is going to be like sound. Like, so make sure that you're like playing on something that's decent. Don't mute this game. Music is fantastic. It is phenomenal. It is one of my favorite of that game company's soundtracks now. The clouds, I mean, obviously it's sky, so you're going around it. The sky, it looks a lot kind of like that very ending of Journey when you go up into the sky and things like that. Like it looks like this is a continuation of that, to where it's like, okay, now we're going to do a new story starting with the sky, and it's about these gods and how they have all disappeared, and we have to like awaken them by going through and finding all these souls of the spirits, kind of going through their little story points by just touching them, and you can see little story points. This guy's obviously a blacksmith. You kind of see him bounce around like that, and then you awaken his soul from this ashy thing with your candle, your light, and it tells a little more story, opens up a little bit of the map, which looks very like the hieroglyphs in Journey. And you continue to do that. You can do that with people, but you're flying around. The flying feels good, especially with the controller as well. Guess what? It's a fun Steam Deck game too. So I've been definitely playing that a lot on my Steam Deck. And then, yeah, it's just the way they do clouds and that. Remember, like, when you went to Journey and, like, you're like, man, the way they do sand and the way you kind of slide through and everything is phenomenal. It looks great. Looks very realistic. These guys do clouds the best. Like, the way it's rolling, the way it goes, like, over cloud. Like, if you do have, like, a surface area, like, there was a certain point where you can go to different areas and levels. Sometimes you go through, like, a tunnel in the cloud. And this tunnel in the cloud went down to, like, where there's ground and, like, trees are popping up. But the way it's, like, rolling over the hills and, like, kind of just swishing through, it just looks fantastic. I'm going to have a lot of fun with this game. It's going to be my game to where I'm watching something like Juju, and I'm just like, I'm not really needing to pay attention to this too much. I might like stop for a minute to watch a cool action scene, but I'm kind of just absorbing like the story just like in the background because it's all right. I got another show I'll talk about which I like more. But yeah, it's a good game. If you like Journey, this is a fun game. You can definitely see the phone kind of aspects of it in there to where it's like, oh, you're going to go around and get emotes. And there is a slight kind of currency you can get with that, but every spirit that you find gives you a new emote, so you can kind of talk to people in different ways. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of fun. If you're at all interested in Journey and you like that, give it a try. I didn't pay a dime for it, so you can jump into it very easily.
Have you thought about just dropping the show? Like, well, the reason I ask is like dropping the show is in Jujutsu Kaisen. Like, I'm just thinking to myself like,
you didn't love it the last time you talked about it.
Well, here's the thing.
The story's fine, but the art in it's phenomenal.
Sometimes when you guys talk about things that you leave on in the background, right? Or not even just you guys, like we do. Like when we've talked about, like Alex and I have talked about fucking New Girl a bunch, right? Like we've seen New
we'll
Girl.
put New Girl in the background.
A bunch of
We've seen it
times.
some-
I just started Brooklyn Nine-Nine again. It's just on in the background.
But there's shows that we've seen before, right? But like I don't know that I've ever in my life had a new show
Same.
that I don't know anything about, but then want to leave it on in the background so that I just like hear. Like I would just drop the show. Like if it's not grabbing you, it's just not grabbing you.
I mean, like it's not grabbing me, but like I do enjoy seeing like the fight scenes and like some of like just the artwork in it and the animation they have with it is really well done. So I don't mind having that be in the background. Otherwise, I'll put like a StarCraft tournament in the background or like a fighting game tournament in the background. I can do that too. I'm just choosing to put Jujutsu Kaisen in it because there are some characters in there I do actually like. I just felt like it was getting a little weird there in the middle to where I didn't like it, but there are parts of it that I do like. And it may grab me a little harder, but it's just...
But do you feel like you really know what's going on?
That's what I was going to get at, is like if you... Because if you're just leave it on the background where you're just kind of not paying attention to it until something pops off, and I don't know because I've never seen it, but I've heard that there's a certain point in the episode count where like it really gets going and turns into the show that people like.
I'll do it, but I'm kind of getting the idea of what's happening right now.
But if you already... But if you've missed, like, let's say that I don't know because I don't know how many episodes are out, so I'm just tossing numbers out.
And I'm only I've only done I'm like 6 or 7 episodes in. I'm not like super far in or anything.
So let's say the good stuff doesn't happen. Let's say the good stuff doesn't happen until episode 35, right? Like I don't know, but I'm just saying.
I don't even know.
So if you have it on in the background till 35 episodes and then it starts popping off and you're like, oh shit, aren't you worried like? At episode 35, you've already went so long with having it in the background that you're just going to be some shit you just don't know.
And if there is, like, I mean, if I feel like, okay, this is really getting me and I feel like I missed something in the back, I'll go back and watch those episodes and, like, really pay attention to them, maybe struggle through what I didn't like in the first place.
Sure.
It's not a bad show. It's just, I don't think it's doing a whole lot that is holding me in. And maybe I just need to pay attention a little more. Maybe it just the first episodes, maybe they're doing the world building. Not everyone's as cool as like they're going to show off because they need to have something to show you later on in the show, right? Like there's the blindfolded guy that's in there. I don't remember his name, but like he is incredibly cool, and I like his personality. He gets kind of aloof outside of battles, but like I enjoy him as a character. Majority of the other characters I don't care as much about. But maybe new characters will come in there. I know they just got like a whole tournament, kind of not tournament thing, but it's like, hey, we're gonna put this class of school and this class of this like demon hunting school into this like map that we're gonna fill with like small demons, and your job is to like, as far as like your learning experience and your like lesson is to go through, fight as a team, fight with new teams as well, kind of learn them and kind of work with them to fight all these demons. And I've been paying attention to that a little bit more than I have of the rest of it, and it's a good chance. But like I said, I've been doing it a lot. So it's not like I've been doing it for the past like 2 or 3 months. I've been doing it for the past week like that. So, but yeah, Jujutsu's fine. It looks great. But while I was going in there to watch that, I decided that I was going to start. There's a new show that's happening. Only 1 episode's out right now, but Crunchyroll's got it big on their front banner. I'm like, this could be good. It's like 20-something minutes long. Like, let's give it the first episode a try. It's called Kaiju Number 8.
I saw that ad. It wasn't out when I was going to click it, but
I have that anime.
Yeah, so the manga is...
Or, I'm sorry, the manga. That's what
apparently, the description in Crunchyroll, it says it's a very popular manga, as far as like newer mangas. And essentially the first episode starts off, Kaiju's coming into this town, it's wrecking shit, but like this world has like a Kaiju defense force. So like super anime shit's happening where dudes are sliding down buildings, shooting after the kaiju. Kaiju's not having things like bounce off it. It's like bullets are going through it. And then like that first like 5 to 10 minutes is like them fighting that battle, the cool defense force. And then the rest of the episode is the cleanup crew. What happens when you defeat a kaiju? It's this giant bloody mess of a monster in the middle of your town. So they're having to slice it up, take parts of it away. Like they have this like one organ of it, and they're like, no, don't pull it up just yet. It's not ready. And as soon as it pulls up, like acid shoots out of it. One dude gets a little bit on his knees. Like, all right, it happens to everybody the first time, kind of deal. And then they have like shit duty, which is you got to pull apart the intestines and cut them all up so we can take them away. But what's in these small intestines or the lower intestines? It's a whole bunch of shit. So they got to go through that. It's a bunch of fun with that. It's a decent show. I kind of like it. So it only got 1 episode out now. They're gonna be going through with it week to week. I won't be playing stuff while I'm watching it. I'll actually be watching it. I like it.
We
It
were
doesn't
just
seem.
asking a question.
I know it's just I'm just going with it a bit, but I don't. Christian's not very fan servicey so far, at least. So I think you'll enjoy it, and you're also a big kaiju fan, so I think you'll like it.
Yeah.
There's a little
It's a goofy-
twist that
it's a
happens at
goofy
the
take
end.
and-
Yeah.
I was gonna say it's goofy take and a mix on like Pacific Rim with a little Attack on Titan with
Yeah, I
a
was in
bunch
that Pacific
of
Rim feels, and it's
Godzilla
also
and
like,
kaiju stuff.
This
yeah.
is a normal thing in this world, so like, kaiju happened. Let's take it down. I'm sure some people died, but they have a big like alert system, so hopefully everybody gets out. And it's a very interesting take on like kaiju and what happens in a world when you have kaiju and it's normal. So it's very interesting. I liked it. X-Men 97 is still going. I wouldn't normally bring it up, but this show is going fucking places. Like they had like not this week, but like the week beforehand, they had like their own Red Wedding kind of deal, to where like
I heard people
stakes are
have
high,
said,
people are getting fucked, but it's also comic book, so who knows what happens with
I've
a
heard
dead
that
superhero.
people were saying that episode was some of the best 30 minutes of television they've ever seen in a really,
really
long
good.
time.
It's fantastic. I mean, it's the writing in this show itself. I went into it going, okay, I've seen X-Men like back in the day. It's an all right show, but it's a kids show, so it's nothing like to write home about. This show is something to write home about. This show is doing a really good job.
Did we ever figure out what happened with the creator being fired like right before the launch of the show?
So I haven't dived too deep.
I still
into it, so
haven't
I'm not
heard.
sure. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
But it's the show's doing great work. Great work. If you're at all interested in the old X-Men from the 90s, they kind of do a little bit of a catch up for you. The very first episode, like the first couple episodes, is like nostalgia. You remember this show? We're gonna give you everything you want to like make you feel good. Be like, I remember this. This is cool stuff. Oh, they're doing combo powers. This is really cool. Animation when they do like combat stuff or anything like more intricate is fantastic. When they're sitting there talking to each other, they know they don't need to put a whole bunch of money into it. So it looks a little bit more like an Archer type of thing, to where it looks like a little bit more plain, very clean look when they're talking to. So it's kind of off. It can be off-putting, but like overall, especially with the actual action scenes, animation is 10 out of 10, phenomenal, and that's what you want to see when those X-Men fight. But yeah, that one episode with Genosha is insane. And lastly, I have finished the season of Fallout, the TV show. Pretty decent. It's 8 episodes long. All of them are roughly 45 to an hour long. It's a decent show. It does the world building very well. From what I hear, this is supposed to be like we're going to avoid like retconning things. So what we're going to do is happens after the video games. It's essentially Fallout 5 with new characters and new things, but you still got like the Brotherhood of Steel. You still got like like one of the last episodes they showed them like, okay, well here's like the Red Rocket gas station. Like I've been here. I have no Red Rocket gas station, and like that little dinky town in the very beginning of Fallout 3 is in there. So it's they hit on the little cues and stuff like that, but it's also
Nuketown?
Yes, I think it was Nuketown. Yeah, was it Nuketown that they went to? It looked very much like it. Can't remember now.
I thought,
don't think it is.
I don't know. Look,
Might be
I don't
Nuketown.
know. Nuketown is the town in Fallout 3, but then there's a bunch of stuff in New Vegas, which I heard that. I thought New
Nuketown
Vegas is part of this thing.
So
I don't know.
Nuketown is where the nuke is, right? Where you have the chance to blow it up or not.
Or not?
Yeah.
Exactly.
That is
So
that is
that's
not
the place.
not in
No,
this
I'm
show.
sorry. So that's my fault.
Okay.
But it is very video gamey, to where they don't always explain things. For example, one of the first episodes, someone gets stabbed, and it's like, oh no, that's like a fatal wound. So they go to the first aid kit and they grab themselves this syringe-looking thing. They stick themselves with it, and they're fine. Because it's a stim pack. Doesn't matter what your injury is, that thing's going to heal you. They don't need to explain what it does. They don't need to explain it's a special chemical that they made, blah, blah, blah. No. It's a stim pack. It works that way. That's the world.
They have they have Radaway, right?
Radaway,
so like to
yeah.
get rid of the
You got radiation poison, just take Radaway and they'll get it out of your system. There's a lot of things like that to where like, okay, I'm glad you didn't spend like half an episode explaining to me what a stim pack and why it works. Like, I get it. It's a thing that's supposed to heal you. It heals you. Great. Move along. Yeah, I thought it was good. Very good show. If you're at all interested in that theme, in that style, they do a very good job at bringing it to a television form, I feel. Main girl, I found out the other day, is also the voice for the main girl in that Arcane show.
Jinx.
Or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, she's the voice of
yeah,
Jinx.
she does the voice actor for that. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I didn't even know that. So, but yeah, other than that is my week.
Okay. Well, I'll take it from here then, because I'll just pile on to what you said. I, too, finished Fallout. I watched the whole thing. It was good. It really was. Like, there was a minute... in the very first episode where I was like, okay, how gory is this going to be? And is it going to be a little like ridiculous and over the top? And at times it is, but it's because they're doing like their own rendition of the VAT system without like slowing down time and doing stuff. And it makes you remember like how gory the game was sometimes, right? But I think it's handled well, but the characters are really, really good. She's great.
Walton Goggins.
Yeah, I think
again.
Walter Goggins is incredible.
Yeah, Walton's fantastic.
Yeah, he's incredible in that game.
I
or in
love
the
him
show.
in all the shows that he's in, but like he does a very good job in this show.
There's one character who I do not care about.
The gentleman
Maximus.
Brotherhood of Steel. Yep, didn't like him either.
Yeah.
Yep, don't care.
I think, and I'm torn on him. I'm torn. Is it the way he's written? He's written a little selfish, or is it the actor? And unfortunately for him, I think it's both. I think his character's written in a way that you're supposed to be a little selfish and like trying to weasel your way to the top, but also like there's a little remorse. You want something more. So his character can't really find his footing, but also like he as an actor just kind of sucks. I'll be honest. But everybody else in the show is fantastic.
Oh yeah, everyone else does a fantastic job.
And I'm not gonna say he's bad. Like he does not make the show worse. It's just when he does things, I just want to be like, I don't care. I don't care.
Luckily,
Get me
he's
back
not the
to
biggest proponent
this other
of the
character.
Show. It's mostly like the
He's
vault
not.
stuff side, the ghoul stuff side, and then then you get some
And the way-
stuff mixed in between, just to kind of like help build the world.
Yeah. And the way they leave the show with the characters and the cliffhanger and the thing they kind of do, I think they also realize that like Maximus is okay, but not the one we really care about. So let's follow some other characters leaving here. So, but the show itself, well written. There were some twists and turns I didn't see coming, but there were some things that really made sense for this world, and I think were very, very good. So I'm excited to see where it goes from here.
Yeah, very surprised.
Yeah,
I went in thinking that this show was going to suck. But video games are making some good versions of live action shows and movies. So yeah, good on them.
Yeah, it was fun.
Finally.
It was fun. When it comes to games, I only played a couple of games this week. I played the one we're going to talk about in our book club. I played Final Fantasy XIV. I'm almost completely geared with my characters, ready for that launch in a month or so.
There you go.
Cannot wait. I played more Like a Dragon. I have nothing to report there. I have not progressed the story at all. I have expanded I now have like 58 buddies out of 200 and like 177 friends out of 200. So like I'm turning my friends into buddies and I'm meeting new people, and I have done enough side stories where I've expanded my pound mates to like 9 people. But I have done nothing story-wise. I just keep running around town doing all of the stupid shit that does not matter.
I will say the buddy stuff you don't have to try to actively seek out. It'll happen naturally. Like, I don't want to spoil anything, but as the game progresses, multiple areas will open up, and when they do, it's a whole slew of new people to say what's up to on the street. So, like, it'll just happen. Like, you don't...
But you also have to say what's up to, like, everybody, like, 4 times, right?
So,
yeah, like...
But the game will put them back in front of you. Like that's what I'm saying. Is
they'll
like
put them in other places.
Yes, like, it will... People who you've talked to... Between the different areas, like, people will end up bouncing in front of you, and you just... Hey, and you just keep going. Like, it's... You do not have to go do it. Like, the game will just let you do it on your own.
The funny thing about this game, and it just handles it in a way where like your brain doesn't really think about it. They don't want you to think about it. But like when you first get over, you're like, I don't speak good English. I only speak Japanese, which makes sense, right? Like Kasuga's never been anywhere else. So he starts meeting people around your party that like absolutely speak Japanese. But then you interact with like very white side quest characters that you know do not speak Japanese. And if you think about it, you're just like, this shouldn't work. But the game's like, just don't think about it. It's a side story. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Just play
there's
it
a reason.
enjoy it.
There's a reason they picked Hawaii though, is because Hawaii has such a large Japanese population anyway that they can get away with people thinking like, well, this person might know a little bit.
Yeah, but the little blonde boy with the drunk American uncle. He's not speaking Japanese, all I'm saying. So,
Hey,
but it's still
he learned it at grade school, dude.
He did. But I continue on. The game is still great. And beyond that, I don't think I've played anything else. I played Halo and Destiny. Destiny with Christian it was very good. I'm excited to get on with everybody. It does still feel good. Like I left the game with my meta. Like I'd worked hard to get my class's meta as a warlock, and I got a poison meta. So like I run in somewhere, I drop my well, it shoots out little poison threads, and then I throw my grenade that like traps people, suspends them in the air, and then both of my weapons are fast shooting poison weapons that now I have 3 times the damage to everybody because my grenade, my tendrils, and everything like that does poison. And every time somebody dies, they explode and send more poison out.
Yeah.
And I just like when Christian and I were doing one event. This isn't saying like, oh, I'm so good, but Christian, you know, when we play Halo and other games, like you always dominate in kills. Like this one, I was running in and like I was just all the kills. Like my and I was so like, well, all the work I did on my meta paid off. And it's what I want to keep, and this game still feels good. We'll see where it goes. That's the thing with Destiny, right? We'll see what happens and where it goes.
I mean, the whole reason that we're getting back in is to try to catch up to make sure that we are ready for when, because they pulled the ripcord and they're basically like, hey, we're just going to allow you mix and match from all these different things and do like if you haven't seen their little developer diary, you can go see it, but it. You know, everybody is well aware now at this point that if the final shape doesn't do well, Sony fully absorbs Bungie. Like, there's no that entity as a studio is gone. It just becomes Sony Studio number 2 or whatever.
And you know, Sony is chomping at the bit for that to happen.
Oh yeah, so but Bungie does not. I mean, no one wants to be acquired that way, especially somebody who has had such a history with acquisitions as Bungie has. So. You could tell the problem is, and I said this to Alex when we were playing it, which is you only pop the top on this bottle one time, and after that, like whatever the next thing is, I don't know how the fuck you are gonna manage this, because this game, when you look at some of the videos and stuff that they really like, it's broken. Like some of the combos, and they even say they're like. Every class is kind of broken at this point, and it's just kind of fun, and we're just letting people have fun with it because it's the end and blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, that's cool and all, but how do you take that forward? I don't know, man.
Yeah.
So
how do you bring it back in?
But that's a whole other thing.
No, and you can continue going because I really think that is my week. I mean, always Halo with Jake when I can. I'm out of town this week, so I can't play with him, but otherwise, that's the stuff I played. So, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, my thing is I was traveling for most of last week, so I didn't have a super ton of time to play, but the things that I did get to, so I beat Dragon's Dogma 2.
Ew.
That game, it was good. It was, I loved it just as much as the first one. I think it really is a reboot in a lot of ways. It fixes a lot of the problems that the first one had while introducing new ones towards the back half, like towards the end. Just by virtue of being a more complete game in a weird way. Like, it's weird. Like, the first one was so unfinished that you could tell that you were just like, oh yeah, this, like, there was certain jank and things that you would hit that you would be like, yeah, this makes sense because this game's not done. I'm basically playing like a half of a half of a half of what I was supposed to get. So this makes sense. Whereas like this very clearly had way more time in the oven, and it's front loaded as hell. So by the time you get towards the end, like, man, the end of the game just like happens. You get to the third capital city and you have some stuff to run around. You're like, all right, cool, do this, and it's like, all right, go talk to this person, go to this person. All right, get ready because this is the end. And you're like, huh? Like, yeah, you go do it. It's right over there. So you don't have to, but it's there, and you're like, I just got here. Like, I don't, but it, it's like it's wild that it continues to be a game that if you play the game, if the gameplay grabs you, then you know the game is for you. If the gameplay does not grab you, then you can safely avoid it, just like the first game. You're not missing out on anything. It is like I said, I've said this before, and it's how it is. It's emergent gameplay, the game. Like, the weird, wacky shit that happens when you're out in the wilderness with your party, and the shit that pops off is like you just, it's completely unscripted, and it just happens, and it only happened for you, and you just get to have that really fun, weird, goofy moment with yourself, and that's it. Like, did I talk about the Medusa thing in here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, where you went and, like, got ahead and came back and used it. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it's just it's just weird stuff like that. It's good stuff. But yeah, so I finished that, and I immediately started playing. So this is going to predate the podcast, but there was a game that I kickstarted forever ago, like 5 years ago now, maybe, if not longer, called Euden Chronicles.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And that is the game that is made by the Suikoden creator, and it was his Kickstarter. He wrote the story, and then there was a studio around him that was building the game. But it's supposed to be more or less like a spiritual successor to Suikoden in a lot of ways, as far as story and just the way that the story is told and things like that. And I immediately saw who it was, and I was like, yeah, done. I will kickstart this. It is one of the only things that I've ever kickstarted. But it is now, our year of our Lord 2024 is actually shipping. It does suck that the creator, passed away recently, so he's not gonna be able to. I mean, it's one of those things where I'm sure he knew, because he was still alive when, like, the Kickstarter blew up, right? So, like, I'm sure you get to see, like, the outpouring from fans at that moment. That probably feels really good, but it is kind of bittersweet that, like, this game has this launch and everybody's going to be excited about it, and he doesn't get to be around to see it. But so that is on its way. People are getting their physical copies early. It seems like that might happen for me. We'll see. Fingers crossed. But while I'm waiting for that, I'm playing the prequel that they released that has to do with a bunch of characters called Euden Chronicles Rising. And I am playing through that. Not much to say. It's not reminiscent at all of the actual, like, turn-based JRPG that's coming out. It's like honestly, I know Alex, I think, is the only one to play. It's a lot like what was that 2D? Now I'm blanking on the name. The 2D action, like, side scroller, like, platformer that we played. That had to do with Hindu, like, mythology.
The 2D action platformer side scroller that we played with Hindu mythology.
Yeah, it was a platformer, and it was like there's like a young girl character. It was made by the developer of Skullgirls.
Indivisible.
Thank you.
Okay.
That it's closer. Yep. It's closer to Indivisible, without the platforming. It's just you're doing anything. It's very clearly a game that was tossed together to, to be what it is. It's just a prequel. It's just to get extra story about certain characters that are going to be in this game. And so I was like, well, I want to know, so I'm gonna get to it. So it's really short. I think it's like 8 hours long, so nothing too crazy. And that the new game launches on, like, the 23rd, so plenty of time. But I've been playing that. The only other thing that I did was I didn't have a lot of time while I was traveling, unfortunately, to play any games, which bummed me out. So I did have something that was still downloaded on my Netflix that I forgot I had downloaded from way back when we first talked about it. And I had nothing else to do, so I just burned that time on the flight watching this. I watched all of Cyberpunk Edge Runners.
Okay.
Nice.
You didn't fall off it? I thought it might have been a little bit too much.
I did. Oh, no, I did fall off of it after, like, the second episode, but then I didn't have... My Steam Deck died, and my bag was already up, and so I didn't want to get up because the turbulence was fucking crazy.
I've been there. And
yeah, bro, you know what I'm talking about. And so I was like,
it.
fuck, what do I have? And
you
so
suffer.
I was like, maybe I still have something downloaded on Netflix. Well, I did. I had that whole show downloaded on Netflix. I said, well, this is your opportunity. You're never going to get another one, so I'm going to watch it. And I'll be honest, I came away liking that show.
That's a ballsy thing to watch on an airplane.
Yeah, well, so here's the thing. After that, I would say, like, the middle of the third episode, the show kind of changes. It's not like that anymore. Like, it like, there's the first part, like, obviously there's, like, some, you know, the weird, like, cyberpunk-y sort of, like, oh, there's this thing that jerks somebody out, you know, blah, 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 whatever.
Yeah. There's a decent bit of nudity.
But here's the thing, is, like, I didn't find any of that was in the later parts of the show at all. Like, that's not, I don't think that's fan servicey. And it reminds me of, like, Ghost in the Shell. Like, it's just, like, it's just... It just is. Like, it's not like a it's not like a zoom in, like, it's just like it happens, the person walks by and you're like, oh, okay, and then it goes right by. Like, it doesn't, but like, I came away and when I ended it, I was like, you know what, before I get there, did either of you guys actually finish it?
No.
I finished it. I bitched about it. I told you guys I didn't like it.
Yeah, I know you hated it. I thought you fell off in the beginning.
No, I finished the whole thing. I just thought it was very hollow. I didn't like the like the ending where I guess we can do spoilers, but like when he takes on all the mech stuff and like just kills himself. It's just like, it didn't grab me. It was like, okay, whatever. And I just felt like it was too over the top for me, I think is what it was.
Yeah.
I just
it is very action heavy. I will say I did like it. I thought it was cool. I didn't have I thought the story was good. I thought that David, essentially sacrificing himself to save everybody. I understood that. But yeah, I always came away and I was like, that was not bad. All right, cool. And I will say it did make me. I was like, you know what? Maybe eventually down the road, maybe it's time to check in on that video game and see.
It's a different game.
Well, I mean, it's not the same by any stretch, but I just mean like it did what they wanted to do. I watched the show and I was like, you know what, that video game, it's not gonna have anywhere near the amount of fast paced action that was in this fucking show. But yeah, I came out and I was like, that's not bad. All right, right on.
I get that because I finished I finished Fallout and immediately went, I wonder if I have New Vegas on Steam or how much it is. I didn't play it, but I did add it to my. I did add it to my
Vegas.
cart.
I want to, but
yeah, same.
Well, then I'll pick it up because it's like $4 on Steam, and it'll be added to our family. So there you go.
Yeah. I have it. I have the 360 copy. Yeah. But yes, yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was fine. I never liked David. I couldn't remember his name until you said it there. So like, it was just, he was so angry all the time. I get it. His mom had a shit job at the corporation and like he was just angry about it and he got kicked out of school and she died on the road during that other like fight. Like, I get it. I just never felt like.
Can I say this?
He turns into just an asshole halfway through.
Kinda. I will say that it is shocking how much you don't empathize with an angsty teenager that does wild shit, considering how much you like emo pop punk. But
That's an unnecessary comment. That's an unnecessary.
But it's true.
You're just drawing lines to things that don't have to do with
a straight line.
other.
It's just like right across from each other. It's really just straight up that. But I don't know. I thought the reason that I thought is I liked how it kept a lot of the there was a lot of moments that I just genuinely didn't see coming. Like I thought it sets the tone very early. Like everyone in this universe is expendable, no question. Like they don't care, we don't care, nobody cares. Like that's the world that Cyberpunk lives in is like its society has went far past the value of human life. Like it's just like who gives a fucking shit, and like it's I'm out for me, and if that doesn't cut, and so like you have this in that world, you have this story of somebody who just genuinely wants one other person to get what they want. Not even one other person, one person to get what they want. Like in a world full of people who don't or can't get what they want, one person who's not a Nepo baby, essentially, to be able to get what they want. And so I was like, cool. But like, there's like, to your point about the spoilers, like it's been, I guess, but like with the, with Rebecca's death, the little girl, like who has the fucking machine guns and crazy shit, I genuinely did not see her getting smoked like that. Like when they save what's her name, the main girl, I don't remember her name, it doesn't matter, but when they save her and they put her in the truck, she's like, hey, I'm really glad you're back, by the way, not because I care, but for David's sake. And then fucking Armstrong comes out and is like, but he had already came, but you didn't know that he was on his way back down. And so then she just looks up, it's like, boom, you're done, like smoke, cut in half, it's over. And you're just like, and you see all the characters, like it's like an Attack on Titan kind of like everybody's eyes get all big, like kind of moment.
I didn't see that one or the one earlier when he's part of the crew and like the guy that she liked, not
the brother, her
brother, right? It just gets like blown up or something, like very
his
early
head gets
on.
blown off.
Like, oh shit, okay,
yeah, by
all right.
somebody who went into psychosis or whatever. Yeah, it's.
But again, I think that was my problem. Like, and maybe it could deserve a rewatch eventually down the road. But like, I remember watching it at the time, I was just like, everybody is terrible, right? And it's so far over the top. And to me, I was waiting within a world where everybody's terrible. I guess I kind of look at the hero to have that arc where like he's the one that stays level-headed, gets everybody on track. But David doesn't do that. Right?
No, David's goal is singular, and to be fair, he does accomplish that goal. It's to get it's David's, and he says it. That's I kind of did appreciate. It was like there was no like hidden ulterior. He was very clear, like from the very beginning of like, I want to get you to the moon. Period. I don't give a shit about anything else. And she's like, and other characters in the show are like begging him to care about anything else. He's like, no, I don't have anything else. Like that ship sailed for me forever ago. And you're like, so I'm not saying it's a perfect show by any means. It was just, it so happened that a show that I fell off of completely, and I was in a situation in which it was either that or watch paint dry. And so I was like, I'm going to watch this. Flew through it, and I was like, you know what? That wasn't bad. All right, right on. So that was it. That was my week.
Cool. Well, then with that, let's get into our video game of the week, part number 1 of System Shock. And this was a happy coincidence. I did not plan it this way, but last week when I announced that we were going to be playing System Shock and I played through it, just so happened to be the 30th anniversary of System Shock. So yeah, just, you know what? Kismet. There you go. So this game released in 1994 for MS-DOS, PC-98, and Windows. If I look over here, I have a ton of notes on this this week. It was developed by Looking Glass Technologies. Here's the interesting thing. So my experience with the Shock, quote-unquote, series, if you will, is BioShock. You all know I love BioShock. I played BioShock a billion times. I've bought it and traded it in literally countless times. I own it, whatever. BioShock is one of my favorite games of all time. I can quote it.
That first game is real good.
Real good, real good. That was my first introduction to Ken Levine as well, right? I thought, and maybe you do too, Ken Levine, his stardom started with this series. I thought, you know, as he created BioShock, he also created this series. He did not.
Okay.
Which was
he just
interesting.
worked on it.
Not even the first one. He
came in on the second one.
He came in on the second one and he worked on it. So like that was news to me.
Which like, people, by the way, hate. Like they did not like System Shock 2 whatsoever.
Well, interesting. That's something we can talk about at the end, I guess.
They hated the ending. They hated the ending of System Shock 2, but.
Sure, and you may be right, because I don't know as much. This game had killer reviews. It's like 4 out of 5 and everything, like 90 out of
original
100,
System Shock?
9 out of 10. The original System Shock. People love it. But I as we talk about this, I got to the end, and I wanted to do some similarities that I found between BioShock and System Shock. And I originally wrote these similarities right after I played this first section, based on my knowledge. It wasn't until a couple days later when I went through and I go, because I was like, I'm starting to think Ken Levine's a one-trick pony here, based on some of these similarities. And then I learned that, Ken Levine wasn't even on this, which now brings up a whole different moral question on, are you a one-trick pony, or did you just steal these ideas? I'm not sure. So we can talk about that later and throughout, but he did not work on this first game at all.
It could be said that Ken Levine's only original idea in the Shock series is both sidesing racism. It could be said.
So let's get into this game that Ken Levine did not have a part of. He came in 1995, a year after its release. And the thing I found... so we'll just go through my notes as I wrote them. So The game opens of a fly through of the city of Atlanta, I believe, in 2072, and I think
Did you recognize anything?
I did not. No, I
There's a
think
gator.
I think that you're in a drone is what it's supposed to be. Like you're controlling like a robotic drone. Is
You're
what
not
it seems.
controlling it. You're just looking at
Yeah.
the view through it. But yeah.
Right, so you're looking at the view, and you are flying through this beautiful like cityscape. You're going up and hovering over buildings. You're coming down. You pause on a sign,
Give me very
a very
fulfillment
neon
vibes.
sign.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
I'm sure it's what people in '94 thought that
Sure.
2072 is going to look like.
Yeah, in 2024, again, only having previous knowledge of BioShock, I go, oh, this is just that opening, but like on Earth instead of underwater, but it's the same. Like it's so much the same. In place of like the octopus swimming by, like they have like another flying car, but like they're stopping on buildings, like where it was Apollo's landing in BioShock, it's like a different one here. Like damn thing's identical, legitimately identical.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say beyond that. I was gonna pull up a side by side for everybody to watch. I didn't have time. It's fucking identical. So anyway, you eventually stop and it hovers over a person in a window. It's like weird. The game loads. Boom. You realize you are the person in the window.
The
You're in this
hacker.
room. The hacker. You are throughout this. To my knowledge, our protagonist, the reflection of us, does not have a name. You're just the hacker. And if you couldn't tell you're a hacker, everything in the room gave it away. There's like open pizza boxes. There's like some really shitty like techno
Very
weird rave
90s, we
music
love hacker
playing.
shit. Yeah.
Yeah, almost like war games. Like if you walked into the set of war games, like this is what this room is. So you walk over and you get caught on your computer. You essentially you can explore, but what the game wants you to do is go over to your computer and start hacking away. And that's what you do. You pop in a flash drive and boom, you are trying to hack Citadel Station, which we'll learn more about in a moment. And as you start doing this, the police break in. Which I have to say is some like Minority Report bullshit. Because like, how did those police officers know you were hacking that quickly? And was the drone a police drone? Like, was there already a raid
I think
going
so.
on in your
I
room?
think that the
'Cause-
implication is that that's a police drone that has scoped you out.
So like maybe you've been trying to hack into this for a while
It took
and
time
like you
to- I mean, it was
finally
still-
get in.
It was saved. Like it was already up on his desktop. So like
Right. So I guess that's the implication, but like very convenient
Because
timing.
you can't immediately take care of that or do anything. It does take time for you to kind of get to that point of it activating.
Yeah, and like I don't know what was going on to begin with over there either. Like I took my time exploring the room. I wanted to see like are there Easter eggs? Is there anything you can interact with? I tried to interact with the TV. I turned on the little news stuff going on in the radio. Like, so I ran around. But you're arrested. Instead of being taken to jail, you're taken to the actual station. You're taken to Citadel
really
Station.
quick.
Yes.
During the arrest, I thought it was really funny during the arrest scene. The guy's like, you know, don't fucking move and don't touch the fucking flash drive, blah, blah, blah. And your character just goes, and then they fucking knock you out.
He does just flip it off, which I wondered, was that
shoot.
an OG thing or was that something added?
I think it's an
and
OG thing.
I'm sure it probably was, because this game looks gorgeous. I'll talk about it in a few moments when we actually wake up on Citadel Station and stuff, but this
So the
game
audio
looks
listeners,
gorgeous.
the character flips off the people, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This game looks gorgeous, but with that being said, you can see the 90s game design in the environments. And I'll
Well,
talk about
that's on purpose, right? Like they mix a lot of the original and remake, like stuff.
Yeah, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I'll talk about it just in a minute. You kind of see what it would be like in the 90s. But so either way, you wake up on the station and you're brought to an executive. His name's Edward Diego, and essentially he offers us drop charges. Like, hey man, I'll drop these charges. I just need you to do something for me. I need you to deliver some information on Shodan. I need you to hack Shodan. And Shodan, I guess, is the Citadel AI, and that's what's going on, right? He has some ulterior motives, we know. for that information, but essentially that's what he wants you to do. And he says, look, if you do this to me, man, I will give you a military grade implant to help you with your hacking. And like any good hacker in the future that lives in a world of cyborgs, why would you not say yes to this? Right. So you do. And basically you hack the station in like you are the most amazing hacker on the planet. Because this top level AI and this top level citadel that's floating in space with like tens of thousands of workers that's supposed to be taking people other places, like you're able to get into it in seconds. So either their AI is crap or you're amazing. But either way,
I think the implication is that since he's the CEO, he just has access to it, and so he was basically like, I can't do this, but I'm going to have you press the button so that I can't be held legally responsible. That's how I felt about it. But
he actually asked you to like hack it, right? Which is sure, I guess. Like maybe he's an exec. Yeah, maybe he's just like, I guess here's the source code. Go do what you need to do. Either way, you do it quickly, and as soon as you do it, essentially what you've done is you've kind of removed Shodan's like ethical constraints to the AI, and then you give control to Diego, and he's like, cool, thanks for that, time to go have your surgery, enjoy your military implant. And all of a sudden you're out, like you're knocked out again. You wake up and 6 months has passed. So after your surgery they put you into a coma, and you've been on the station for 6 months. And I have to say, from any knowledge of any like Walking Dead zombie show, post-apocalyptic, it does not matter. If 6 months has passed, shit's gone down.
You're in for a bad time.
Oh yeah.
You're in for a bad time, right? Like that's all there is to it. And that's exactly what happens here. So when you wake up, Shodan has essentially taken over, and this is where the game begins. So I'll stop here for a moment before we get into the levels and just go through that briefly. But like, what was your feeling of like the intro, the setup to the story? Because it gives you a lot at one time, but I think it does it on purpose because in 94, there's not a lot of story throughout. There's some story you get through audio logs, but like there's not cutscenes, there's not that sort of thing. It's just, here's your story dump, right? So how are you guys feeling to kick things off?
So I feel good still far. I mean, like right now, my main thing is like I've never played System Shock before.
Same.
But I've always been aware of System Shock as far as like when people tout it as like, you know, one of the games. Like back in the day, like it was fucking, you know, larger than life. People always talk about it, that kind of thing. So I'm mostly just interested to see how well it ages. Right? Like, you know, you can go back and play, like, original Doom, but there's parts of original Doom that even today have not aged particularly well, right? Like, so it's just... But that, you know, hasn't really gotten, like, a full level, like, of a remake like this one, like System Shock did. So it's, like, revisiting it that way and saying, like, okay, so you guys remade it, but, like, what do we... Like how does it hold up, kind of thing. So far, my main thing is that it's I really like the style. So like,
Yes.
It looks good.
Yeah, like I think, you know, there's usually two ways that people do a remake, where it's either like a Shadow of the Colossus style remake, where it is just like from the ground up, you know, completely rebuilt, right? And then there's like the further side, which is closer, you know, like a remaster, which is basically like, hey, it's this game again, but we just cleaned up a little bit. This is like a weird marriage of the two, where like there's tons of things in the game that are very clearly like from 2023, 2024, whenever this released, right? I think it was 2023, but it's so like there's a lot of textures and things that came out that you're like, oh, okay, this is very clearly new. Like that's what they're doing.
Like some textures,
but some parts of it are very clearly still from that game, like from the '94 game. And
if you kill enemies and get up close to them, sometimes you'll see the pixels around their head. Which is interesting.
items and
really,
objects,
yeah, like, and I actually really appreciate it. Like, I think that it's a fun, it's a very creative way to sort of differentiate yourself in the remake sort of space. So I was like, I'm down with this. This actually is kind of cool because it allows you to play through the game and you know, it's for the both. Like if you're playing through it for the first time, right? None of it feels like too terribly dated because there's a lot of stuff that's still updated and you like it's this nice mix. Or also if you're somebody who did play the shit out of the 94 game, then you come into it being like, oh, there's a lot of it, you get a lot of the memories that a remaster can give while all of the new freshness that a remake can give. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I think it's a very clever way to handle it. Yeah, so far I'm like, okay, right on. I'm a hacker, and I removed Shodan's ethical restraints. So I don't know a lot about Shodan, but I know that Shodan gets pretty fucking evil. So, and in this section or in this gameplay section that we do, her evil plan sure is evil. So it gets there. But yeah, at this moment I'm just like, all right, let's let it rip. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, I definitely like the intro. So game first boots up, kind of gives you like, you know, developer screens. Pleased to see that this was done by Deep Dive Studios. They recently did one of my favorite games of this year so far has been Dark Force Remastered. So they also did the remastering of Dark Forces. So I'm like, I saw it, I'm like, nice. I'm like, if they're doing the remake of this, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. Like, don't know about the game itself, but I know that it was put in good hands as far as development of this game. So getting into it had very like that Fifth Element kind of vibes, very darker though. And then it took me a while to figure out what to do with the laptop because I went to it, it was too early. I'm pressing buttons, it's not activating. I'm like, okay, well, we're just going to go search everything. And since it didn't work the first time, I'm not expecting it to work the second time. So I'm pressing all the fucking shit in the bathroom. I'm playing with the guitar. The whole radio thing is now over, so that radio's not going to play anything anymore for me. I'm like, all right, well, I did everything. I'm like, okay. And I finally started pressing everything again, and of course, got to the laptop. Like, oh, okay, here is the prompt. And did you guys choose male or female?
Male,
yeah.
All right, I chose female. So a lot of times when my hands are in view, like I have like colored nails and stuff like that, like little designs on there. So, and then a female, the voice every once in a while kind of pops up with grunts or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did choose the female. At first, when it came to difficulty settings, what did you guys choose?
There are 3 on that one, right?
Yes, you got 1, 2, and 3 for different tiers of like enemies
normal
or hacking
on the
puzzles and.
I did normal on the gameplay, normal on the puzzles, easy on the enemies, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. How about you, Christian?
I did normal straight down. If I'm playing the game, I'm just playing normal.
Yeah.
I'm not. Yeah.
I started off that way too. An hour and 30 minutes later, I decided I can't handle the fucking enemies in this game, and I'm pissed. So I'm like, you cannot change difficulties mid-game.
You cannot.
You have to start over. So since I couldn't leave the first area in an hour and a half, and I'm like, I know I got 2 more. I got at least another area to go through, and if it's anywhere near this long, we probably should start over because it's not letting me change difficulty settings and go back to 1. So I'm like, I kind of just went 1 all the way down the sides. I probably should have, maybe with the hacking and stuff, probably should have gone 2s, but like just to make sure that I wasn't gonna be pissed off later on. Because to preface this, like I have played the BioShock games. Like I played 1, I played a little bit of Infinite, but I always fell off of them. The gameplay is not for me. It's not my type of game. I recognize them for what they are. I'm not saying that they're bad games, just not my bag, baby. All right. So I'm playing this one. I'm like, okay, well, it's a shock game. Let's see, maybe it evolved into something different. I knew it, like, you know, you said yourself that the creator of BioShock did not make this game. I was not happy after that hour and a half. So I toned everything down to 1. I cruised through the rest of that section to get back to where I was. Got back to it. There is a large difference. And when we talk about the game, we maybe can get into it. But like, it goes from like me having like 7 enemies towards the end of the first section to me having like 2 enemies to deal with. I enjoy that much better. I was able to get through it much easier, and easy difficulty setting, very easy, and I'm pleased with it.
Yeah,
and it's not as scary
with
the less enemies.
I could be wrong. I did try and tell you guys right before we kick things off of just like, hey, plan accordingly because like the sections can be longer and the enemies can be tough. So like do what you want to do, but like I did easy. Just
So
be aware.
I don't know. I mean,
I thought
maybe
I
it's just
said
'cause-
that. But
I didn't know you could
yeah.
change it, but I assume normal. Like, okay, let's just start normal, see where it goes, and if I need to change, I can change it.
Yeah,
sure.
I haven't died yet. I've just been playing normal. I don't know if it's like yeah, maybe I'm
Skill,
Can I ask you a
maybe, who
question?
knows?
Can I ask you a question? How often do you save?
all the time.
Yeah, you need to.
Okay.
You have to.
Yeah, I died, and
The first time I did that, I'm like, oh fuck.
I'm-
okay.
You
I
start.
haven't-
You started. You started at the beginning. There's no save point. You start at the beginning.
They do
Yeah,
have
like-
checkpoints on a rare occasion.
There's like the body checkpoints that you can kind of unlock, but we'll get there. But like yeah,
Just 2. Yep.
well 2 so far. Yeah, there's going to be more as the game, but yes,
Sure.
So, to my understanding, there's at least 1 on each floor.
That's what it seems like.
But I save all the time. I haven't died yet. I know it's coming. I'm sure it's going to come.
Yeah.
And when that does, I'm definitely going to want to have my save there. I'll be pissed, but
yeah.
I save all the time.
yeah.
I'm not going to spoil it for you. Because I want you to have a genuine reaction to it. I actually think it's pretty cool when you die to what happens.
I do
so
too, yeah.
when you do die, please let us know, and we'll
Yes.
just briefly talk about it because I think it's pretty interesting.
Okay,
we're
the
not
thing
gonna talk
that I
about
would
it.
say, as far as the normal difficulty stuff, I haven't had that many issues on it. I know the thing is though is that
You're built
I think I'm not.
You,
I just
you
think
are.
that,
You are.
You
kind of
are,
built
stop
different.
it, you
I'm not
are.
gonna lie.
But
Yeah,
I think that
you are.
But I think that it comes from like you know, when I was like for games from our childhood, right?
Sure.
There was 2 kinds of games, or not 2 kinds of games, but there was tons of games. But it was you always usually like fell into whatever was like when I was growing up because my options were so limited about like what I would have access to play. Like I was either playing JRPGs when that console wasn't in use by the older people
Or
who were
Doom.
playing games, or Doom and Quake and things like that. And so like
Sure.
I'm like so used to this kind of like there's a part in this game where like I don't know if it was intended, but like there's a lot of like parts of these levels that you can just sort of get around if you do like the crazy crouch jumping that was all the rage back in the day. And like I had moments where like I definitely was getting to places way easier or way like it was not intended, but I would like get up and be like, oh, I have this key card now, all right, fuck you, and then I would just go and do the thing that I would need to do or this whatever. And like so there's that piece to it, but also I don't know if you get like when you guys are going through the floors, and I only remember this because I played the demo, but like are you you're shooting every camera that you see to delete the security?
Or hitting with a crowbar, whatever you got. Yeah.
Sure, but just like yeah, because like when as the security goes down, enemy spawns go down and everything else.
So we'll talk about that in a
don't know about
moment
that.
too.
They definitely do.
Well,
I got more
they
enemies
do.
towards the end the lower that thing went. Or maybe it was just the end of that first section that just
Well,
spawned more enemies.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that in a minute.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah, so like in the 6 months, and I'm gonna pile up on what you said in a second, Christian. So in the 6 months, you know, essentially all robots have been reprogrammed thanks to Shodan. People have mostly been killed or
and
turned into cyborgs, right? But I mean, some people are just straight dead, like not
Yeah.
killed and turned into cyborgs, like murdered. There's a few cyborgs, and this is where the game like starts to kick off when you wake up in medical. And I think this is what I mean when I say you can kind of see the difference in 30 years. The game looks fantastic, right? You can tell though if this was 1994 with all the lights on the walls and all the panels.
oh, dude, your mind's blown.
It'd be very flat and look like Doom, right?
Yeah.
Like, but and in multiple ways, in both good and bad. Like the bad, I guess, like there's secret rooms. I actually found a secret room by accident.
I did
because
too.
I thought I could
Same.
click on something and I couldn't. And so I did, Christian, as you said. I played my two levels. I map scraped, by the way, so we can talk about that. But then I went back and did like a quick scrape through of a playthrough, and I realized I think I missed 1 or maybe 2 extra hidden areas, and all the hidden areas were like ammo, so I'm not really worried about it. But
Yeah.
that's because like back in the day, you were supposed to run along the walls and just smash the X button to see if you can interact with everything, right? And I actually made the note. I said, this gives me a very Doomy vibe if this were in the 90s.
Sure.
Oh yeah.
So it also makes sense of why.
All first-person games had a Doomy vibe because it worked, and then everybody made one. Like it was, just
and it would
how
make
it is.
It makes sense of why you're having less trouble then too. I didn't really play those games back then, but to what you said, I did crouch jump on the second level to get somewhere, and according to the playthrough I watched, I essentially went through the entire level backward. Right, so like the way you're supposed to go is like along this corridor. And you do this like I went through the rafters and like through some pipes and down and around because I was able to crouch jump up to it. And according to every playthrough I've seen, like I just did it opposite, which is still fine. But it was to that like you could do that crazy stuff. So as you wake up, you're contacted by Rebecca Lansing. So she's a counterterrorism consultant, which I find interesting. On the space station, you have like a counterterrorism just consultant. Like it's not even your job. Like you're just consulting on it. She says that essentially what you get from her and a few other audio logs, because that's how this game delivers story, audio logs and email, is that the mining laser of this station, which is also a weird thing for the station to have, is powered on. And it is pointing towards Earth. And this kind of comes into play on the second floor. We'll talk about that in a bit. So as you progress, you encounter like enemies. You do find some different weapons. This I actually really appreciated of the game so far. So I would love to know what you're using. Like 90% of the time, based on my level, I'm using crowbar. Depending on the enemy. For like the robots, or sorry, the wrench is what I meant to say.
Wrench you find like further into the level, but yeah.
Well, no. What's the first one? You get a wrench to begin with.
Like a pipe
you get a lead pipe to begin with.
Pipe. Yeah. And I actually had 4 hours ago. The next thing I had was like, did anybody find the wrench? The wrench it gives you an achievement when you find it, which is called Look Familiar. I thought maybe that was a BioShock thing, but I don't know if it's a BioShock reference. Maybe it's a System Shock 2 reference. I think it's a
System Shock thing is my guess, because I think that like it had a hidden wrench that you could find. This is just my guess, but I think it was that. So it's just like, oh, look, you remembered where it was at. Like, ha ha ha.
Maybe. So I'm either using that. You can use actual machine guns and a pistol. I use a pistol occasionally, but my go-to has been the like little laser pistol, the one the cyborgs are carrying.
Very cool,
dude. That thing is great.
Changing the settings for how powerful it is.
Yeah, that thing is great, and I thought that was really creative. I like that it takes your energy versus like bullets. I like how you can power your energy at these energy stations. You can also get health through other means like eating, but one of the ways you get health is the med bays. There is only one med bay in those 2 levels that I found. So I got to almost the end of the second, and I was like, before I do this, I'm going to run all the way back and get in that med bay and go full health into this thing. So again, it's showing that like 90s bit, right? Where like stuff is few and far between, there's hidden doors, but also I appreciated some of the variation of the guns and other stuff. Hey Pop. So Rebecca promises like, hey, if you can help us defeat Shodan, then turn off the laser, then I'll wipe your slate clean. Because through some of the other audio logs you've learned that Shodan has literally developed a god complex.
Yeah.
Like,
which
she's
is
better
so
than
crazy considering that her ethical restraints were released. So like, who could have seen this coming?
Right. So your goal, we now know, is to shut down, like in this early part, we need to shut down the laser, and we are eventually going to head to Shodan. And there's a couple of things that can help us along the way. We can destroy cameras that takes down the power AI level, or you can destroy CPU cores. CPU
you have
cores
to do both
are
to get the security level to go down.
To get it to go 0, you do, right? And CPU cores are almost required to move on from level to level. At least so far they have been. Cameras are not, though. Like cameras, you can not do anything with. Yeah. This is what I thought was interesting. And Preston, this absolutely does have to do with the difference of like the difficulty in the game.
Sure.
Because if you get it down to 0, things will quit spawning. Also, if you don't take those things down, then Shodan will spawn enemies in your area. Like, I watched this happen. Like, I took out what I thought was most of them, but we were down like 20%, and I ran into a room, and the little thing goes like, beep, beep, and lets me know, like, a camera is up there. And all of a sudden, I watched 2 elevators pop up out of the floor, and 2 cyborgs walk off of it. So, like, I love this feature of the game that it's vitally important to, like, if you're going to beat this all-knowing AI, you have to think about this stuff and take it out. And I thought that was cool. But yeah, it absolutely, like,
And the game does not tell you.
It does not.
No.
And I have a whole nother section
going down. So like, is that just the progression of the level? Is that just my main goal?
No, you're just supposed to know. Yeah.
I have a whole section of
Read
this
the
towards the end, by the
manual,
way,
dork.
of things the game does not tell you. Just FYI.
Oh, sure.
I mean, that's game design back then. You know what I mean? Like,
that's
it's just
game design.
like, there was plenty of times that I was walking through this section here in medical, and I was like doing something. I was like, I guess this is what it wants me to do, and then I would just do it. Like, okay, I guess I know going forward. Like some of the puzzles, right? Like I know you guys are on different difficulty, but some of the puzzles that I was playing with normal, like I'm sitting there and I'm like, there's certain things that they introduce as far as mechanics, and they don't say like there's no tooltip that pops up.
We're talking about the wire one where you have to get it in the little bar. Or
Yeah.
something. Like,
So the wire one's there, right? Like that one's a thing, but then like I'm skipping ahead just a tad bit. But in research, there's a moment where they add like a new knob, it's like these blue ones that rotate all the pieces around them. And you're sitting there and there's no tool to the puzzle of like, hey, this is how this works. Just like figure it out.
You're supposed to stop the power at, like it's not pull the power all the way. And you're like, what's going on? Like, oh, you see the little highlight. Like, I guess I'm supposed to go.
And then the best part is the game's like you can either figure that out, or if you like me, if you accidentally, like I'm trying to figure it out, right? So I'm like looking, and I look to the side, and there's like this little like interactable that pops up to the side, and I was like, oh, maybe I have to do something over here. And I click it, and it uses one of my consumables, which is a logic processor, which just solves the puzzle. And I was like, well, that's going to come back to bite me in the ass because I don't know how this works now, and you're just only going to expand upon it, and I have no way to practice this. So yeah, it's just
okay.
Yeah.
So I have here, like as I told you, I scraped the maps of these two levels.
I did
too. My playtime was long. I don't remember exactly what it was.
4.5 hours for me.
Yeah, I think mine was pretty long too. But like you don't have to scrape the map, which is the nice thing. You can get through as quickly as you want, as long as you do the main thing, which is destroy the CPU cores, get to the elevator. Preston, how did you do it? Did you scrape it, or did you just get to where you needed to go?
Not really scraping. When the first I was playing through, I was kind of scraping, just kind of trying to find all the spots because I did not know what I was supposed to be doing. So I didn't want to miss on anything and find out I missed the objective all the way through the level. So I'm kind of going through. I realized very early on that when you hit those, cause, I mean, you see a camera. I'm going to take the camera out. So I took the camera out, saw the percentage went down. I'm like, okay. To my knowledge, that was what my main quest was in this spot is like, let's take all the security down to 0.
Yep.
And then once I got towards the end, I didn't have really anything. I was running out of ammo. I was running out of health, and to kill those power cores, they explode. So I'm like, okay, well, I don't have shit to make these power cores
I learned that on the first level too.
Yeah.
I was standing way too close on the first two.
Luckily, I knew to save beyond that point. At that point, so I'm like, okay, well, my save's not too far away. Let's see what happens. I'll hit these with a wrench. I'm like, okay, I died. I'm like, okay, well, now we need to run around, we need to find the energy to maybe shoot these down and destroy them, stuff like that. When I left that area to go do so, like I had the percentages pretty much done as far as cameras and stuff. I walk out of that area into this hallway. That is when 2 to 3 androids popped up, and there's like 4 of the mutants all in this hallway coming after me. And like I said, I'm low on health, and I don't have anything to can I regen. I am running out of ammo as well, so I'm like, I am screwed. I try this over and over and over again, and then I get to a point where it's like, all right, let's turn the difficulty down. No difficulty.
Was this on the second floor or the first floor?
First floor.
Yeah,
because like,
when you start blowing up
I find out I can't destroy them without destroying myself.
Yeah, when you start blowing up the nodes on both floors, Shodan calls for reinforcements.
Yeah. So I destroyed
one. She says,
one,
like, get in there and kill him.
To do the rest of them. And that's when I got.
If those nodes are the last thing you do, then whatever reinforcements she sends after you, that's it. There's no more that will spawn on that floor.
But there were so many of them. I guess I could have kited them throughout the entire level, but I was getting like sniped out by the androids. And it got to a certain point where it's like, you know what? We're not past the first level. Let's just go ahead and restart this. Let's tone this down a little bit because I guarantee later on these levels, it's going to get a little more difficult because this is how video games work. I'm like, I'm going to tone this down now before.
Even on easy, it's tough. The little like jumpy laser shooting things, they're like the bane of my existence.
The hoppers, I fucking hate those things.
They're the worst.
No,
I just throw an EMP grenade in there and then smack the shit out of it, and that's it.
Oh, sure. But yeah, it's. I wasn't having a bad time with it. It is a good looking game, and when I toned down the difficulty, I was having just a fine time. This is Audio Logs, the video game. So if you have a problem with audio logs as far as your main story point progression, you're not gonna like this game. I kept getting through them like I don't mind audio logs, especially because they let you play it and they let you continue moving. You don't have to stay in the same spot. Like Metro, like when you would hit an audio log, you need to stay in that room to hear that audio log go off. With this one, you plug it into yourself, you turn it on if you want to, and then you can continue walking around shooting things, and you still hear it. It's not off in the distance.
Preston, maybe this will help you. Did you guys find the setting for autoplay audio logs?
I did find it, but I haven't pressed it yet because there's sometimes where like something will be loud and I don't want to start it yet.
Yeah. I say in settings, again, things the game doesn't tell you, you can just click autoplay. So whenever you jam the thing in your hand, you bounce it off. You don't have to hold X or whatever. You just run off and it starts playing for you.
I've had a room to where it's like I got one, it was playing it. I got to the next room, there's another one, so I wouldn't want the autoplay because I don't know if it's going to stop it or not.
Why it's not like a default setting, I don't know. I thought it was dumb,
man. But there's some people who want to play the game and not mess with the audio logs at all. They just want to go through, shoot things, get to the end, and be done with it. But yeah.
So yeah,
no.
Cool. So like, I mean, the goal is to do what you said, right? Get to the next level by destroying the CPU cores, usually just to bring down Shodan's influence. And then along the way, there's a couple of simple objectives. Get a color key code, open a door, opens up an area. Maybe you can explore more. It's going to give you more audio logs, but one of those objectives in each has also been a hacking terminal,
which I had a lot of fun with.
Yeah, one unique part of the game. It's like a Tron-inspired cyberspace, right? Where you're flying around as just a little first-person shoot 'em up thing, yeah, and destroying the stuff. I thought it was cool. I enjoyed it. Yeah, I think they're fun. They can be tough. They can be easy. You can kite things a little bit easier, but I enjoy them. They usually unlock a door or something. So I do think the payoff is a little weird. Like, it doesn't seem to be like the big payoff that you would always want.
They don't really tell you what you've done once you finish. It's like,
okay, I mean, it'll say it very plainly, but you just go like, I don't know what that means for the larger world. Like for my the
right
in the medical one or whatever, it's like removed like whatever it was. Like it's like removed blank. And you're like,
research was easy because like when you do one, it opens up the door to like the special piece you need to get out of the cone, right? Like the laser cone. So like that one was easy to know. But you're right, the medical one.
So the thing is, funny enough, that's not what that does. Yeah, dude. So I got that special piece. I got that before I went into the cyberspace thing. All that cyberspace thing does is disable all the radiation in the room, which is what you're supposed to do first, so that it doesn't hit you. My ass was popping rat away like crazy, and so like I'm running through, being like, all right, what the fuck do I need to do? I'm like, bam, 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 bam. Okay, now next room. I just went right to left, like as I was going through. So I got it all out, and then I was like, all right, now what is this cyberspace thing? So then I go, so I did all that, and then I get to the cyberspace thing, but I had already scraped the whole room by that point. So when I get through there, I was like, oh, right on. Like, I mean, I get it, like I appreciate it, but I was going to leave this room no matter what anyway, so.
And here's one thing I didn't like about that, it was that a lot of the times, like you can go to the map, you can see objective points, right? It'll have like a little point, it'll say, hey, this is kind of where you need to go. When you get to those areas, it'll tell you to go there, you'll finish it, the objective point will still be in that room. So like, I don't know where to go. I figured you'd update the objective point, but no, it's like, okay, you need to go here. You did it. I'm like, yeah, we're not updating the point yet.
So going back to the time period it was made, right? Like the way I've been exploring where to go, I just look at the map and say what's black, what's not uncovered. Like, I see a door here and I have not got up here. That's it, right?
Yeah, my thing has been, do I have an elevator icon showing? No, then I haven't found the end of the level. Like it really is because I know I mean that's what it is. Like as soon as when you're going through and you're looking for the elevator to get to the next level, it's like, okay, I know that's my end goal. So I have to do whatever amount of hijinks I have to do to find the elevator to then let myself up there and go. Like
to unlock and use the elevator, because you can find it and it's not ready to be used yet, because Shodan still has control of the elevator until you knock all the security down in the medical bay.
Yeah, and it's funny too how they switch it between. Maybe they'll keep doing this. I don't know, but like in medical, it's like most of security's presence is cameras, and then the last like 20% is the CPU nodes, whereas like almost
research like 40% was the CPU nodes,
if not more. It was more. It might have been more. Like it was jumping by huge percentages. And like I think I only killed like maybe 5 cameras, and
Yeah.
to the point where I was worried when I found the CPU nodes. I was like, well, I'll shoot those now anyway, and I'll just deal with it. And then like I was like, oh this might actually equal 0 by the time I'm done with it. And I was like, holy shit! I was like, all right on.
I had the same feeling. I was running around looking for cameras. I couldn't find them. I was like, what the hell is going on? So, there's only one other thing, because like there's really, beyond the story that I told you, that kind of catches us up to the story of the first 2 levels.
The main thing is like
from the audio logs, knowing what
But
happened during this time.
There's one other thing though, story-wise, that's in level 2 that I wanted to hit on, which is you do make it to a command room for the laser itself in level 2. And I just want to know, what did you guys do in said room? Did anyone push the laser button?
I don't know that I did. So in level 2, the thing that I remember in level 2 was that there was a point where it said, it was like there was an audio log that was like, I figured out a way to defeat Shodan. I have to shoot the mining laser at the station to destroy everything. And yeah, it'll suck that we all get smoked in the process, but if it means Shodan can't do anything, then that's what it works. And I was saying the thing, I was like, well, I already know Shodan's plan is to erase the Earth with this mining laser, so I can't imagine that plan went off too well. And then I was like, but I don't remember.
Okay, so in the
I probably
room,
missed the button where you can press that button.
At one point, you go into a room and there's one or two guys that are dead around a long table. It's like a command quarters, right?
Sure.
If you run along the wall, and I think it's in the room where you get that audio log. When you run along the far wall, there's a red button, and it's a computer control button, and you can push it. And I was like, see what happens. Maybe it'll help me shut down this laser. It does not. It actually does the opposite. It goes, we don't know where the laser's targeted. We don't know what we're doing, but we need to shut it down. It's like, cool, let's shut this down. Yeah, I shot the effing laser at Detroit. I killed 4 million people, and they got a game over screen. And an achievement, to be fair. But, like, it's just...
Nice.
I game overed because... And Shodan comes on the death screen and was like... I knew you would see it my way. Thank you, or something like that. There was like death. It's like, all right.
That's funny. I didn't do that. I didn't even know that was an option. That's really funny. When I was in that room, I just got that stuff. I got that. Did you guys though? I only because I know how these games work. Not this game specifically, but just games from this era. I immediately took a screenshot. Did you guys there's a room that allows you to go into cyberspace? I think it's completely optional in there, but it allows you when you finish that little cyberspace thing, it says unlocked laser disabled code. And when you come out of it,
I have 3 codes written down in a note right now.
Okay.
I don't know what they go to, but I've written down the.
So
also,
there's a screen. And I noticed because the game doesn't do it for you. Because for codes for doors, those are usually in an audio log or an email. And that's 3 of the ones that I found so far. But there's this code that is not part of that. It's just part of cyberspace, and it shows up on a little computer screen, and it shows.
It's like a blue computer screen, yeah. Like
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's in 2 screens basically that are in this room. It's like they show them on both screens, and it's like the laser deactivation code. And I was sitting there looking at it, and I was like. So I opened up the email, I opened up the log thing, and I was like, yeah, there's nothing in here that says this number. I was like, these motherfuckers.
Can I give you another hint? Just in case, just to save us time, because I don't want anybody... Should I give you this hint? Because I feel like, Christian, you might... Okay, I'm not going to do it.
So what I did was...
Can we real quick, Christian, can we just mark this moment? Preston said no. Episode 1. Just
natural progression.
Yeah.
Said no.
Yeah, so here's the thing. Yeah, so like
just remember Preston said no. Okay.
When I saw that, I was like, yep, screenshot. When I took some of these items that are like the isotope thing, I was like, clearly this is going to be required for something, and I can't have it leave my inventory. Because if it does, then I won't be able to... So it's like these things, like it's just things that you have to know, but I like, it's the double-edged sword of being this faithful of a remake to a game that's this old, right? Like, so Shadow of the Colossus, I just keep using that as an example, but like that remake, that game originally was made when game design still had like, not to be mean about it, but like standards. Like, like tooltips show up in that game. Tutorials show up in that game.
New
A window
standards.
will pop up and say, hey, this is what this button does, and this is what you'll use it for. Like, because you have to be accommodating to people. Like, you can't just be like, go fuck yourself. But this comes from the era where that was the Wild Wild West. None of that shit existed. None of those standards existed.
Yeah.
I found the hidden room I found was in the what we were just talking about, the isotope room with the radiation when you walk around the outside, but you can go down the ladder on the inside of that room and there's nothing down there, just a flat floor. And I'm like, well, that doesn't make any sense. So I ran around the walls and hit X around all of them, and the doors just go zzz, zzz, and opened up to an ammo thing, and I was like, all right, video game, you have hidden rooms, great.
Yeah, it's just it's very interesting how that. But I immediately was like, well, I'm gonna press the screenshot button on NVIDIA here, and I will just file that in that folder because I can't wait for the game to go, do you remember this code? And I'm like, do I remember this code? And then I'm gonna put it in.
So I have a. So we're getting to the. I mean, we're kind of to the end here, right? Because that is the game. The first two levels. Let me ask this. There's something the game doesn't tell you. So you guys found out how to change the power of the gun. Took me a minute to figure out how to change the power of the gun. Did you know you can lean around corners in this game?
Yep.
I noticed that the very first thing, like when we first off the game, because I'm pressing all the buttons to figure out stuff. I'm like, oh.
Are you guys playing on controller?
So you can. I saw in the video you can lean around corners in this game. I'm playing on Steam Deck. I still have not figured out on Steam Deck how to lean around corners.
So I'm playing with keyboard and mouse.
Click in the left stick on controller. Like, you cannot be moving. Press it in. That locks the character in place, and then you can do the leans, and then you click it again to get it out.
I had not figured it out on Steam Deck. I knew you could because I saw it in I saw some people playing through it. I was like, wait a minute. I told you about the dog tags, not to worry about those. The vaporize, the recycle. Saved often is a big thing. The game does not tell you if you do not save often, you will start over from the beginning. You will absolutely start over from the beginning. Of course, there are hidden weapons and stuff, but yeah, there's other stuff the game doesn't tell you, which, like you said, is a blessing and a curse. It's fun. It makes the game interesting. It's good in the remake because things are easier to see now, right? I think, but it's kind of a curse because, that game.
Speaking of weapons, did you guys find the electric shotgun, like the mag shotgun?
I did find a shotgun, but I think you can load different ammo into it, right?
Well, so there's the regular shotgun, and then there's the magnetic shot, like the electric shotgun.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think I found that one, no. Probably
so, just as a heads up, because I'm sure that it's in multiple places because they do that with some of these weapons.
Oh yeah, you find multiple of those weapons.
The crazy RoboCop fucking androids that are super tough, 2 shots from that thing and they're done.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the one that because I remember it from the demo, but that one that you get into cyberspace and you unlock and Shodan's like, ooh, it's your fucking funeral, dork. Like this thing's super hardcore. I was like, bomb, bomb, and it just fell over, and I was like, see ya, idiot. And then I did
the same thing. I think I shot it with 4 shots, and that was it. So I have a list. I was gonna go through this list now, but I think I'm gonna keep going with it. It's the similarities between System Shock and BioShock.
Sure.
Because again, at first I was like, we got us a one-trick pony on our hands. I currently have a list of 6 different things, if not 7, that are similarities. Now that I know he didn't create it may be a very different story. So I'm going to continue this list when we get to the end. And when I say similarities, I don't just mean this is reminiscent of this and this. I mean no. The audio log thing is an identical rip. The opening is an identical rip.
Games are doing audio logs for a while, but yeah, I know what you mean. The
hacking mini game with the power going through the things, that's an identical rip for the blue power hacking mini game on BioShock that you can hack the cameras as well. We'll talk about it. I got a list. It's just interesting because the story's a little different. So that is that. Let me ask. Well, just an overall, I'll say so far I'm actually having a lot of fun with this game. I think they did an amazing job with this remake. We will see how the story ends up, and we'll see what we'll see what this monotony feels like. Maybe this loop is pretty good. Maybe they do enough to change things up by level 8, 9, 10. You're like, okay, this is fine. Maybe they don't. And by 8, 9, and 10, we're just like, holy shit, let's run to the elevator. I don't know. So I'm interested to see how this plays out and if there's enough little secrets here and there to find that really keep it fresh and unique. But the first part, as a game I've never played and just like Christian knew about, I really enjoyed it. How are you guys feeling?
Yeah, for me, it's I really like the look of it. I like that all of that stuff. It's really been fun. Right now, it definitely still feels like a game from '94 and not a game that was from '94 that was remade today. So I like, even from the story, like some of the audio logs, it's like I'm just like, yeah, I know this story. Now the problem is that I'm still putting myself, like, you know, I'm thinking about it, I'm like, okay, like this was '94, like not a lot of stuff was out at this time for them to be pulling inspiration from like that.
Yeah.
Like as far as like weird sort of like techno future but not really future, because like, you know, technology didn't jump the way they thought it was going to. Like, what is it called? Like utilitarian future or whatever, like Alien, right? Mm-hmm. So it feels like there's a lot of it that feels like that, like people still using floppy disks, and it's weird because they're just like, floppy disks will never go away. You know what I mean? So like that kind of thing. So like
keep in mind too, like, so this is supposed to be an expansion off a fantasy game, but they didn't want the traditional fantasy, so they changed it. And this is right off the heels. We had Tron in the late 80s, right? And we had Lawnmower Man, which is another sci-fi computer in 92. So this is right off the heels of those two things, and you can see a lot of that, I think.
Yeah, but like, just mean, like, there's just not there. Like at the time, there wasn't that much. Like it was all still really fresh, right? So like that kind of like this kind of story, like a rogue AI and what it could do and what does that mean? Like, whereas like we're living in that hellscape today, so like, you know, it's like one of those things. But like I think so far, yeah, I've just been like, I've been trying to put myself back in that mindset of like, all right, if I had played this instead of Quake or Doom, like how would I be feeling about it, kind of thing, right? But so far it's been good. I've enjoyed it enough so far.
I'm interested, Preston, for you, because like I love the Shock games. One mostly, two's good. Infinite has its problems. This feels, for me, I feel a lot of that in this, right? And I know it's because it came from that. So like, I actually enjoy the gameplay, I think, because of that. So for you that fell off of it.
So the gameplay is still like Christian's like a 90s shooter, like a 90s first-person shooter. Mm-hmm. This has a
Boomer shooter, as we're called now.
Yeah, Boomer shooter. Yeah. So there are additions to this game that make it different and better. So like the inventory is very like of the like old Resident Evil type of games, to where it's like puzzle inventory, like you got to move stuff around, make sure you have room for it in there.
Yeah.
Some things stack, some things don't stack. Like you can incinerate things, like when you get done drinking a can, you still have the can in your inventory. You
vaporize them,
or you can vaporize it, and you can use that also vaporize to recycle, to get coins, to use the vending machines that you see throughout the level. I liked the aesthetic and the themes of those Shock games. Like I thought those what brought me in was like oh, this cool different world, you're underwater, but it still has that weird like old school vibe, but futuristic at the same time. This one is more cyberpunky. This one is very like a 90s hacker type of deal, Tron type of stuff. I like the theme. I love the theme. I think the designs on the mutants and the androids are very cool. Now, what stops me is it does show its age when you start to get to like ammo consumption, less description on what you're doing and what you should be doing. It's more of a fuck around and find out type of deal. Like, if you don't know how to finish the first level, you're supposed to just go around and do things. Like, you might not know to destroy those nodes. Nothing tells you to destroy those things in the middle. And nothing tells you to get the cameras. So you don't know destroying those cameras is going to stop the spawning. Like, I remember walking around, like, there was a camera I couldn't get. It's like, okay, well, not a big deal. I don't want to waste ammo on that camera. I didn't know that those cameras caused the spawning in that room.
I'm not for nothing, but I'm pretty sure this is coming from the guy that skips dialogue. There is an audio log where the person says the cameras see everything you do,
And then No's are like her thing, you destroy them all and she'll lose control. Yeah, it does say that.
Yes, but it doesn't say things spawn when they see you.
Yeah.
So I wasn't putting together. I'm just listening to a story and just trying to observe the world. I don't
and here's
like,
the problem. Here's the problem, I think, with some of this that, game design back then, they were just like, we'll just put it in the manual, right? Like, just, I mean... there was even going into
communities that talk about things.
Even going into early early PS2 era, like there was plenty of that. It was like, hey, if you didn't know how to do something, like chances are it's in the manual and they've explained it in there. Like,
or you go to GameFAQs.
Sure, well, that was much later, but sure. Like I'm saying, like early on, like people,
there's still forums and stuff you can go to.
Yeah, but like that, but a lot of that stuff didn't have. Like most people did not have the money to have a computer.
Most people
that
did not know how
like,
to get to that stuff as well. But like someone like
right,
me
like,
who's fucking around
like,
computers and internet, yeah.
But like a lot of people who played games, like back then, were just like, oh, I had to I open up the manual and I learned that's what's fun. Games don't ship with those now.
We didn't even have a home computer.
Right, like that's what I mean. Is like neither did I. Like so, like that's what I mean. Is like it gets. But my point in saying all that is like when you remake a game like this, you have two options, and most people who do this, they just don't do either of them, and it kills me. Like you either need to put real tutorials in and have people experience it the way that like they would a game today, or put in a digital version of the manual and be like, hey, it's in the menu. Like it should be, it should literally be like start game, continue, load, manual. Like it should be there. Like,
do you think that shows what this publishing team thought of this game? Do you think this shows that they sat back and they said 99% of the people that spend money on this game will only be the people that played the game back in the day?
Or played games like that back in the day?
I don't think so. I think it's just something that people just don't do. I don't know that a game has done that ever. And a remake of an old game, I don't know that I've ever seen somebody be like, hey, we've included a digital version of the manual so that you can know what's going on. They just assume like, hey, to your point, most people who buy this game are going to have an affinity for it. If they don't and it's a new player, honestly, they'll probably just get frustrated and look up a guide. And when they do, it'll tell them what to do, and then they'll figure it out from there.
Oh.
Why do we need to waste time doing that when it could... Now, like, I'm just saying, like, it should just be... You should want to do that for somebody who might be experiencing System Shock for the first time. Even somebody who might not be as, like from the time that we grew up in, where we all know... Like, we haven't played System Shock, but we know System Shock. Like... Before we had played this, if somebody said, have you guys heard of the game System Shock? We would have said, yes. But like, there's people who probably there's at least one person on Steam who bought this game who had never heard of it before and just was like, oh, I didn't realize that this is where BioShock came from or whatever. I guess I'm in. And then they would check it out. And I could see somebody being so fucking frustrated, being like, how was I supposed to know this? And then they have a bunch of people go, it was just games back then. They'd be like, fuck that.
Especially with a remake, that's one thing. Like me playing Dark Forces Remastered, that's just them making it look better and like being able to put it onto current stuff and have proper controls for that game. Other than that, it has the same flaws that game had way back in the day as far as like you were talking about key cards. There's a key card you can pick up. At no point in the first couple levels does it tell you key cards have codes on them. It's like, no, you picked up the yellow key that opens the yellow door or whatever. You got it. And like level 3 or 4, you now have these like screens up where it asks you to put in the codes, and you don't know that the thing in your inventory that you picked up off a body that you didn't press a button for, you just walked over it, and it said in the screen, picked up code. You don't know to look that up in the inventory. That's hard to get to and find that. But that's a remaster. That's not a remake. This is a remake that should make it better and should make it more modern, if you will.
I would say even with a remaster though, like, bro, it takes 4 seconds to scan a manual. Like, I'm sorry, but like, I just like make a PDF of it and then put it in the fucking game. It takes 5 minutes. I can do it on my iPhone right now.
To be fair, they probably did that with all the extra stuff they put in there. They probably have it. They have like old box art and stuff. They probably put the manual in there.
We should. That's our first consulting gig. Let's get a job and we'll consult on a game. Be like, you will literally get kudos forever if we could just help you design a digital manual.
Yeah.
Push this, added content. You're already going to give us, half of you are going to give us stupid comic, the other half are going to give us the music on Steam. Like, just push a digital manual.
Yeah, it's not that crazy.
It's not hard. Scan it in.
All right, well,
So for the next part, we're going to continue on 3 and 4. We'll see if 3 and 4 gets any faster. If it gets faster because we've got our bearings, we know what's going on, then we might expand it in part number 3. But we're going to do the next 2 levels. The next level, I believe, is maintenance, where we continue on. So we're going to stop when you get to the 5th floor.
Okay.
Right? And that will be our part for next time. So
I can look it up.
thank you all for hanging out with us on another episode of the Testing Room. And hopefully, if you want to check it out, it's been good so far. It's relatively inexpensive on Steam, I think.
Stopping at
So feel free
Flight
to-
Deck.
Flight Deck, thank you. So, if you hear this, play along with us. We love to have that. Or give us your feedback if you ever played it. But either way, we will catch you next time. I should be back in my home office and back to normal. But with that, everybody, thanks again. And Preston, you know what to do.
Hit it!
Thank you for listening to another episode of The Testing Room. To catch up on past episodes or check out the newest ones when they drop, follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts. If watching is more your thing, check out youtube.com/thetestingroom or Twitch TV/testingroompod. To leave comments and ask questions, follow us on Instagram @testingroompod and email us at testingroompod@gmail.com. See you next time.